This is the Wise Guy Radio Show, a podcast dedicated to educating and inspiring through conversations with today's top talents in the world of glass. We will be dissecting their journeys in hopes to deliver actionable content that you, the artist, can start implementing now, helping you grow not only as a creative spirit, but also a successful artistic entrepreneur. With a little organization, relationship building, and your artistic ability, you can obtain greatness. Climb aboard, whether an artist, retail owner, or enthusiast. We have a ton of fun in store for you. Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
You're listening to the Wise Guy Radio Show.
This episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by Mountain Glass Arts. For the month of June 2018, Mountain Glass is offering their Boro sale. Save 33% off odds and seconds, Glass Alchemy, North Star, and Troutman. They already have a discounted rate applied to this, so no coupon code is necessary. And for all you beautiful soft glass nerds, they have their Creations is Messy 40% off sale. All you have to do is put in the coupon code MESSY, that's MESSY, at checkout to receive 40% off. And also make sure you go and check out all of the deals and discounts and sales Mountain Glass has going on weekly and monthly. They now have a brand new website they've created just to make our life a lot easier in terms of searching and finding things on there. And they also have a ton of sales going on. Right now they have 3 separate weekly sales going on. So definitely go there and subscribe to their newsletter and stay in touch with Mountain Glass, and that's mountainglass.com. Go to mountainglass.com. Hey, what's happening? Welcome to the Wise Guy Radio Show, episode number 193. This is your host, Jason Michael, and thank you so much for tuning in today. Today's guest is featuring Kevin Beecher, who is one part of a group of guys that are putting on the big glass event this year, East Coast MELT, or also just MELT. You can find all their information at eastcoastmelt.com. I have all the links in the show notes for you guys to check out. And Kevin and I first start off sharing his journey and where he's been with glass the last 21 years, being a self-taught artist. And then we get into the transition of the actual event of MELT itself. And I'll tell you, after talking to him and just discussing everything going on at MELT, it's one of those events that I know is going to continue to grow and going to push envelopes in a sense, or make set a standard. That's what I'm trying to say in this industry. It's amazing what these guys are putting on. The amount of things that they have to do logistically wise just to make this work alone is mind-boggling, and they put together an amazing team around them to help everything work and flow smoothly as possible. You know, there's always going to be something happening, but this is the 3rd year that they've done this, and it was an honor to have him on the show to discuss this and just to get this out there and share this with the world. As a glass artist myself, this is definitely something I'm going to look into. Budget-wise, right now, it's not in my budget, but I do know that I'm going to probably end up doing what it takes to get my ass out there. Just the fact that you can stay 5 days in the mountains up in Pennsylvania and the Poconos, just camping alone for the week is worth the trip up there. And then you include 5 days of melting glass, 4 full meals every day, music, camaraderie, making new friends, learning new techniques, getting to see some of the best in the industry working right next to you. Just everything in general. It's just an amazing, incredible event that these guys are all putting on. So hats off to them. I just can't even say enough about what's going on. So you definitely will enjoy this interview as you hear us talking about everything. For those of you who have been to MELT already, I know you understand what it is I'm talking about. And the guys over at Torch Talk, they've been covering MELT for the last couple of years as well through some video work and stuff, which is pretty badass. And myself personally, I think I'm going to try to somehow get my way up there, get work off and everything for that week to be able to go up there and cover the event myself through the audio form, do some video work as well. No promises at this moment because I have to see about getting off work first. But other than that, it's definitely something that I'm interested in. If not this year, definitely next year. And I talked to Kevin pre-show about potentially being an educator there next year. So we'll see what happens there. But I figured I would just plant that seed for now. But in the meantime, I hope you guys do enjoy this interview. We had a lot of fun talking about it. One thing I wanted to share, a little side thing that I'm actually going to be doing somewhat of a video on is, well, not really somewhat, but a video on, is how to fix cracks in your glass. Not all cracks are fixable. Some cracks can be fixed, and you got to do some things to remove the scar or a bubble left behind. But one of the things that one of my artists who I work with told me about, which is something I never thought about, is if you have a crack in glass, you want to make sure that you don't touch it at all. There's nothing worse than rolling your hand or rubbing your hand across that crack to kind of feel it, which I know we all do. But what you're doing is you're putting the oils in your finger into that crack. And it doesn't seem like, you're pouring anything like oil into it, but technically you're putting the oil from your skin into that crack, which will then seep into the crack and stay. So when you go to heat the glass up and go to melt and seal that crack in, the oils from your fingers in that crack are going to leave a scar every single time. No way around it. So one advice I'm just going to give right now before I do the video and talk about the aspect and process of different ways of healing your glass is don't touch it. You can touch the glass around it, but just don't touch the crack at all. And then make sure it's clean. Use a little bit of alcohol, rubbing alcohol if you can, to wipe the whole piece down before you go into the kiln and start to fix the piece. And I'm talking about a crack obviously after the fact. Your glass is cold because we're not touching glass when it's hot. Some of us do, but we prefer not to. But just think about that. So if you have a crack in the glass, when the glass is cold, comes out of the kiln, you see it, don't touch anywhere around that crack. If anything, you want to make sure it's super clean before you go back in your kiln and get that going. And speaking of kilns, my kiln, my thermocoupler took a shit. I've got an AIM I've been using for about 5 years now. And, these things happen. And because it's happened to me and it's been a long time since I've had kiln issues, I'm going to do a full tutorial video on everything from going through the process of ordering the thermocouple to also replacing it in the kiln. For those out there that are interested and that way you can fix your kiln yourself, these are little issues and things we run into. And with that being said, this is kind of where most of my focus outside of work is going to be gearing towards, is getting tutorial videos done on little things like fixing an infinity switch or fixing a parameter or fixing your thermocouple. If you have a clogged port in your torch, little things like that, like how can we manage to get by with the things that we have, in a sense. I'm also going to get into doing some tutorials and video on ventilation, just lighting, all those little small details for the new glass blower, but also for the glass blower out there. If you've been doing this for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, there's things that you may not know. Like I've been doing this for almost 20 years now, and I never thought about not touching a crack in my glass because of the oils in my fingers potentially going to put oil in that crack and will then leave a scar. So just kind of little things, there's only so much that we can learn on our own that we have to then learn from others. So that's my goal here. And I'm going to go and do it now. I was going to hold off, on announcing this. But I'm going to be making a really huge change in my life, referring to my glass. And as of now, I am going to be taking a immediate hiatus from making pipes. The pipe is something that is in my soul, in my blood. I will always be a pipe maker, and I'll always make pipes. But right now, because of the timing that I have and the amount of time I have for my personal work at home, I have a couple orders right now that I'm going to be wrapping up. And once those are done, I'm going to be taking a break from making pipes for a while. I have a couple ideas in terms of the focus I'm going to be leading towards, but really the energy that I'm going to be focusing on outside of the over at Disney is on this show. I've been going in so many directions over the last couple of years, and it's just my personality. I like to have my hands on a lot of different things. But over the last year and a half, after going through my divorce and moving and getting settled and being closer to work and actually having more time now, as well as my work schedule now going from a 5-day-a-week schedule to a 4-day-a-week schedule, it's given me one more full day to be able to do things that I've been wanting to do, which is focus on my educational side and educational space with this show, to expand upon doing some videos for YouTube, but also to get this class I've been working on for the last year and a half done. Most of the videos are all done. It's just getting them edited, which takes time, little minor details to that, doing all the audio, voiceovers, etc. So there's a lot of little things behind the scenes that are going on that I haven't been able to really get done because I'm pulling myself in so many fucking directions. It just doesn't make sense to do that anymore. Not only health reasons, but also my mental space and also for you and my audience. So just wanted to say, I'm going to be taking a break from making pipes for a while. I do have a small handful of pieces laying around right now that I have been working on, that I've been stocking up. I'm going to be posting those on my Instagram here pretty soon, offering them out available for sale. These will be the last round of the Wise Guys that I'm going to be having available probably for a couple of years. If someone wants to call me up and says, hey, I want a custom order, I might do something in a certain range price-wise if it's worth my time in a sense. But really what my reality is now is my main focus is this show. I've been doing this now for almost 4 years, and the show hasn't had a chance to grow because of myself pulling myself into so many different directions and having too many irons in the fire. My daughter and I started a new t-shirt line of Disney theme park inspired shirts and designs. She's doing most of the legwork on that. I'm just helping her with on some of the social media aspects of things. So it doesn't take a lot of my time, doing that. But everything else I had going on, trying to fill orders, trying to get custom orders done that were breaking and having to start over, etc. It's just so frustrating. And I don't like living my life being frustrated, and I also want to make sure that this show is where it needs to be and the content is there on all sides of things. I'm going to start doing more than just one episode a week, or like I talked about in the last episode, really what I want to do is do my interview and then have a segment on the show that is like the news of the week for the glass world, which I'm going to be starting here pretty soon. I just haven't had a chance to stop and sit down and do it yet. That's because, again, I'm in a fucking million places at once. So my focus is now going to be changing and directing strictly to this show here, which honestly I am excited and cannot wait to get all this stuff done that I want to do. I have a fucking huge list of concepts and ideas and tutorials and just you name it, it's on paper, and it's just going to get done one at a time. No more talking about it. It's time to get this shit done. So that being said, breaking news for you listening to this, I'm no longer making pipes for now. I'm not saying forever. I'm just taking a break for a bit. So there you go. So if you'd be interested in picking up one of my pieces that I have, I think I have like 8 or 9 of my Wise Guys laying around that are safe and secure, packed away. I've got a whole line of flower pieces I did and a whole line of my little other concentrate pieces. So look for my Instagram. My Instagram for my glass pipes is myfunctionals. At myfunctionals, MYFUNCTIONALS. You probably don't need me to spell that for you because I'll have the link in the show notes. But if you've been interested in checking them out, definitely do that. I'm going to put a whole, just kind of one at a time, put them up there. And I'm not sure if I'm going to do an auction on them. I'm probably just going to put them up available for sale because I've never really had much luck with the auctions in a sense of, in terms of what I feel the result of the bids are in a sense, but I don't know. Maybe that I'm going to announce that these are my last pieces I'll be making for a couple of years. It may drive some interest. But either way, I'm rambling here. So so there you go. So I hope you can appreciate what I'm going to be doing here, but also look forward to being in touch with you way more often. The newsletter is going to be going out every week. There's no reason that doesn't happen, but that's going to be going. More videos are coming out, more information, more content, everything, just to help with this side of educating. So stay tuned, and there you go. So, feels good to get it off my chest. It's bittersweet, but it is what it is. So, I don't know. I think I'm done rambling here. If anything comes up, I might jump in and just add it to the show notes. But other than that, I think it's time to get on with this episode with Kevin Beecher. You guys can check him out at Kevin Beecher on Instagram and Facebook. Well, Kevin Beecher Glass is his Instagram. But again, I'll have all the information in the show notes, so you can go in there and click the links. Make sure if you have not yet subscribed to the podcast yet, you can go on to iTunes and subscribe to it, or whatever other podcast catcher you have, depending on the type of phone you use. If you have not yet signed up to our newsletter, wiseguymedia.com is always being updated constantly. You can just go on there. You'll have a little pop-up that'll come up. You can sign up for that. Get on to our newsletter. So there you go. I'll talk to you all soon. Love you so much. Enjoy this episode with Kevin Beecher, episode 193. Stay hydrated out there, y'all. It's getting hot. What's going on, Kevin? Welcome to the show.
How you doing?
Pretty good, dude. Pumped to have you on, man. We got a lot to talk about here. Going to be sharing your journey and adventures and stories of glass blowing, and then also this big event you guys are putting on now. Is this the second year you guys are doing this?
This will be the third year.
Third year, okay. Yeah, I'm a year behind. So yeah, the third year for MELT, which to me, as we talked pre-show, I think right now is probably the coolest thing going on in our industry right now. Besides, the 400,000 trade shows that are going on.
Yeah, but, definitely a lot of that.
But yeah, I think it's pretty badass what you guys are doing. So before we get into the MELT talk, I definitely want to share your journey and story and being a self-taught artist and being behind the torch now for about 21 years yourself. And I think we have a lot to talk about. So. Yeah, before I go rambling on, dude, if you want to get us started here with sharing your superhero origin story and how you're introduced to and how you were introduced to the flame.
So actually, I guess this June 8th, my birthday's June 7th.
Nice.
And June 8th, I started blowing glass the day after my 21st birthday. So it would have been June 8th. Basically almost a couple, 1 week. I think we're a week away, right? I think, next week.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, right out of high school, I pretty much, I was all my friends in high school, Grateful Dead, go to concerts, all that kind of stuff. And we're like, let's move to Humboldt County. I was like, okay, cool. So we all jumped in cars and flew out to Arcata and pretty much lived out there, just got a job making crab traps, weaving them out of wire.
Oh.
And I did that for like a little while, and they lay you off in the wintertime because it's like a seasonal job. And so I started collecting unemployment while I was out there. I was like, 20 years old. And luckily before I left, I was doing roofing, and I was making scale money. I was getting like $30 an hour, and back then it was a lot of money. But they only did it for like 3 months. But basically from Pennsylvania, they gave me like the Pennsylvania wages. So out there I was getting like a ridiculous amount of money from my highest quarter. So I got to just lay back for like 6 months and just hang out and go to the beach every day. And I met a lot of people, and I ended up meeting a couple glass blowers out there, which I don't know too many of them. Brian Raskin's the only one I still know that's like still working pretty strong. He has a company out in Arcata still called Marauder Glass. But him and Chris Cannon and these two guys, basically, I did some work for them, and they were like, we're going to take you out for your birthday. And I was like, cool. So we were hanging out, we were drinking, and they're like, man, you want to learn how to blow glass? And I was like, okay, sure. I had no clue what it was. I didn't really know them that well. I didn't know much about glass blowing. And they took me up in the mountains of Arcata, and basically it was Neyland, so it's pretty far up, about 45 minutes inland up in the mountains. And I just basically lived up there for about a year and just watched them blow glass, and they started teaching me how to make mushroom marbles and canes and like prep work for them. And I did spoons and stuff like that. Did that for about a year, and I realized, out there at the time in Arcata, there was, that was a pretty big place for glass blowing. That in Eugene and all those places, but there still wasn't a lot. I mean, there was a lot of glass blowers, but in Arcata at that time, there might have been 26, 27 glass blowers. This was back in 97.
Right.
And I was like, man, there's a lot of glass blowers here. And I was like thinking in my head, that's too many. So I was like, I'm going to go back to Pennsylvania. At that time, I didn't know anything about glass blowing. There was no glass blowers back here. So I moved back here and kind of just picked it up and bought some equipment and just started making spoons and going to shows. And basically from there, it all kind of fell into place.
Yeah.
I've been
Could you ever
plugging
imagine?
away ever since.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted there. Yeah, no, plugging away is the key there, dude, because you have to.
Yeah, I'd go home. I'd try to go to a music festival or a Grateful Dead show, like every, Further was going on, all that kind of shows, and I would basically come home each week, just crank all week long and try to make like 100 spoons, and I'd take them to the shows and sell them like 2 for $20. I'd hold them up, walk around. They were just real simple little cheap spoons. I made thousands of them. And, I did that for like a year or two. And then I started, dabbling in some other stuff. And, that went on for a couple of years, just basically learning and, never really going anywhere and learning from anybody else because I didn't know anybody else that blew glass. There wasn't a lot of people. You'd run into, like I said before, you'd run into a glass blower back then. Mm-hmm. And they would be real secretive about, like, if you'd walk up to them, even if you had a piece in your case that had a honeycomb on it, you'd be like, oh man, check this out. Like, oh yeah, it's kind of my thing. I invented it. And they didn't want to tell you about it or how they did it. I'm like, sitting there like the whole time, like, dude, I make these myself.
So true.
Oh, it happened all the time. That
Oh
was
yeah,
like
dude.
it was one of those most common things, since the internet came out now. I mean, literally, you just hit the button and you can literally see how to make anything
Mm-hmm.
at the drop of your fingertips. Back then, I mean, you literally had to work. There was no color, Heck, we had 25 colors to pick from, and half of them were hard to get. My first pieces are all silver gold fuming, lots of blue, lots of black, lots of red, and lots of white.
Yep.
I mean, that's pretty much all we had. And, occasionally I'd get some amber purple or some cool color and be like, oh my God, I made this piece out of this color. And it was the most amazing thing. And now you're like, holy crap.
Yeah,
There's
but
so much stuff to choose from.
isn't it cool though, man, that amber purple, like that family of color is still relevant today. Like it's a color that to me is timeless, and it will, there's variations of it, don't get me wrong, from other companies, but just like that family of color, I love it.
The double amber purple and the blue amber purple.
Yeah.
I mean, I have stockpiles of all that stuff from back, how some of this stuff's probably 20 years old.
Nice.
Yeah, I got a lot of old colors.
Yeah, it's amazing. But man, thinking about like, I guess, blowing glass in Pennsylvania, did you ever imagine that that'd be the fucking ground zero for Operation Pipe Dreams?
Well, that's getting moving on to that time frame. I mean, that happened from, I guess, like Tommy Chong's company, or
Mhm.
they sent something. They had a Pennsylvania company order pipes or whatever, and then that's what happened through the mail thing. And when that happened, when pipe dreams hit, I was like, oh my God, like what the hell? So that's when I shifted my gears completely. I actually stopped making pipes for a couple years. I didn't really make pipes. I mean, I'd still make them on the down low for friends and people I knew, but I focused on wine glasses. I mean, like I just put everything I had into making cups and feet and trying to really get good at that. I went through, years of that, I think I consider myself a decent cup maker nowadays, but I'm not, like, by no means a master.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely make a lot of wine glasses to this day just because of Operation Pipe Dreams.
Hell yeah. What was the market like when you were trying to sell those things?
There again, I kind of shifted gears. Instead of going to hippie shows, I started going into like arts festivals and stuff like that, and wine fest. I just booked 2 this summer. Me and my buddy Josh Mazet, one of my other partners from Melt, we do a lot of goblet collaborations together. So we're gonna do some wine festival this summer instead of hippie fest, just because like the market's so flooded with there's so many pipe makers out there. You go to a festival, there's 10 other people set up blowing glass.
Mm-hmm.
So we were like, hey, let's go to Wine Fest. There won't be any glass blowers. We'll go there and sell some jewelry and wine glasses and wine stoppers and whatever else we can make.
Well, now that you said that, bro, there's gonna be like 50 fucking glass artists going to show up.
Yeah, no doubt. Fortunately, there is a lot of wine festivals. I mean, there's one like every week, pretty much.
Rad.
Pennsylvania has of them.
It's fun, dude. Because I had Eli Mazet on, talking about the shot glasses and stuff, and it's such a cool thought to of a niche in a sense, to think that people don't really focus on it. And to me, like yourself, it's smart, man. It's just an untapped resource, even though there's thousands of glasses being made by machines and shit, but like handmade wine glasses are
Yeah, there's definitely a market out there
Yeah,
for
it's
people
huge.
that really appreciate it. I mean, you still get people that don't care and they don't really, they're always just like, why am I paying this for that? I mean, like, they don't get the fact that, what you put into it. But then, the people that do really do, and they're the ones that really keep you going.
Are you guys focusing on like specific like cup styles for specific types of wine that are being?
Well, sure. I mean, if you'd see my body of glasses, I mean, I do a lot of very unique cups. I do a lot of trick cups. I make glasses with glass chains, and
Yep.
I stack a lot of wine glasses up, and I have a whole series of those I call drunken goblets. And I started making them because when I first started making cups and feet, I mean, literally I'd go through, you'd make 20 to get one nice
Right.
one,
Yep.
And I got so sick of throwing all the cups and feet away every week. I mean, my trash can was full of them. So I started, one night we were drinking and we were like, I started taking cups and feet and started stacking them together and making these really unique wine glasses. And from there I was like, wow, we're going to call these the Drunken Goblet series. And then literally I've been making those for 16 years, something like that.
Awesome.
And from this day, they're probably my most popular wine glass that I make, and I sell the most of them. And literally they're just clear cups and feet stacked up and they look all bizarre. And yeah,
That's
I don't have
fun.
to throw anything away. Well, the funny thing is now most of my cups come out pretty good now, my cups and feet, so I don't have to throw them away, but I still have to make them to make these drunken goblets. So they're actually made out of nice cups and feet instead of like junk ones.
Yeah, it's hard to go back and draw some, or make, I say draw, but make some shitty cups.
But I enjoy making cups more also than anything. I mean, to me, if you take a clear cup, a set of jacks, and you can open that cup up nice and straight, I think that's one of the hardest things you can do in glass blowing.
Mm-hmm.
To make it perfect and clear and, it's really hard to do. I think that's one of the harder things you can learn.
Yeah, I agree, dude. For me too, it's the wine glass for myself for the longest time I'd make them and they were so thick,
Yeah. I like thick cups though. I mean, that makes them, people are not afraid to use them then.
Right. I agree. But for me, I would have like a beaded lip around the edge that was too much, so when you go to drink out of it, it's like super uncomfortable. Just didn't make sense. But something I think about, just putting this out there, at Epcot for Food and Wine, they started giving out plastic cups that have a thumbprint indentation in the side of the cup. Mm-hmm. And so it makes it easy to carry. And I had a woman come in to work one day asking if I can recreate that in the glass. And she's got arthritis issues, and she says the cup is actually way more comfortable for her to hold because of her arthritis. And she's like, you should think about making a line of these. And I was like, that's a great idea.
That's funny you say that. I actually do a lot of cups with, if you look at my Instagram or something, there's a lot of cups I put with ripples and like really crazy finger grips in them. Mm-hmm. So I'll push holes into them and stuff so you can grab them easier. I like the way a cup feels in your hand like that.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely.
I'm big time into texture. I like to do a lot of texture and just really weird stuff that I like the way it feels.
Hell yeah. You ever do like frit textures on the outside of them?
Occasionally, sometimes. A lot of times for the actual wine glasses, most wine people want them clear.
Right.
People make sometimes I'll go color and make real elaborate ones, and they're more for show. But if you really go to wine festivals and stuff, these guys are really looking for clear. They want to be able to see the wine.
Yeah, they want to see the trails and how much alcohol's in it. And
yeah. So but there again, I don't discriminate with glass. I'll make just about anything.
Yeah.
It's all about how I'm feeling that day. So.
Well, it's cool though, man. It's so important just in the business sense to know how to pivot and move in a direction.
That's what I did with pipe dreams. I worked on that for a while. My buddy that I went to high school with, another funny story is when I moved to California, he went to college and we were good friends in high school and stuff, but then we came back, we kind of ran into each other at a party, and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, I started blowing glass. And he's like, no doubt, I went to school, I'm blowing glass. So he went to Temple University for soft glass, and he started flame work, and he actually went over and lived with Cesare Toffolo for a good 3 months. Like, wow. This was 18 years ago or something like that. And when he came back, that's when I kind of like picked up the whole trade of how he did his cups and learned how to do what I did. And so I kind of have that Venetian style, the way I work. I use all the soft glass tools and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. And I still to this day preach that if any lamp worker has not taken a soft glass class, to do it, because it's amazing the hand skills and the tool sets that you get to learn from it. Like it'll change your whole game.
It really will, and it's just fun too. It's just a whole different, outlet for glass. If you want to go big, go soft glass.
Yeah, exactly. It's interesting too. Like we have a hot shop at Magic Kingdom, and it's a solo show, so we use a blow hose on our pipes to inflate the glass with. And it took me a while to get used to working by myself doing that, because I'm used to using a blow hose with on the torch, but the blow hose for me is still new. Like the hand torch and the blow hose combo is like I should have had this thing 20 fucking years ago.
We just had this conversation last night here. I was gonna buy a new hand torch, and I was like, I cannot believe I went 18 years without a hand torch. I literally just got a hand torch like 3 years ago.
Yeah, same here.
I had them. I've always had like 3 or 4 hand torches. They just sit around in boxes. I've never used them ever.
Yep, same here.
My buddy, Josh Mazet, he was like, man, you got to get a hand torch. And I'm like, all right, I'll try it. And then since then, my rig game is like stepped up like drastically. I'm like, holy crap, I don't know how I could ever go back to making. I used to think, oh, I'm a man, I can work this thing around the torch, and I'd hold these big pieces of glass up and dance around this thing, trying to get these little crevices, and I'm like, I'm an idiot. And then same with blow tubes. I never did it. I still pull points. I'm a point puller.
Dude, me too. Tell me about it.
Yeah, for my cups, I could not blow a cup on a blow tube. I have to have points. I need that feeling in my hands, the small tubes.
Yeah, exactly.
And it is a big difference. I tell anybody they want to make cups, there's guys that are making nice cups on lathes and stuff, but if you want to do them by hand, I highly recommend learning to pull points and blowing that way. That's just the only way to do it.
Yeah, it seems like too, like the tear off aspect, like when you're ripping off your pipe, the pipe part to pop your cup open, to have a point, it's less glass there. There's no weld or seam or anything. It's just
a lot of those guys, the way they tear off, when they blow their bubble and tear off. See, I use diamond shears and just like soft glass and crack it off.
Yep.
So that's how I make all my holes too. So I have to have the points. I have to have that feeling. I try to do it on like 9mm tubing, like heavy wall, like blow tube, and I can't get the spin right. Can't get them to shape right. I can't like puff them out and get those really cool like, intricate shapes.
Yeah. Do you do a double point like on both sides?
Yes. Yep. Both sides.
Yeah. Exactly.
because I never know what side I'm going to use. Then like,
Yep.
I might, I like to be able to go back and pick whatever side looks straightest. Then I can kind of work off that and fix the other side and straighten it out.
Yeah, that's cool. What
So-
kind of shears do you using? Do you have like a small pair?
I have some tools from Carl O'Donnell, and I have some cool tools from Jim Moore.
Okay.
So I have a couple different things I use. But Jim Moore's are awesome tools. I mean, he makes really nice glass blowing tools.
Yeah, and affordable too.
Yeah, that's the thing with Carl O'Donnell. You can get 3 tools from Jim Moore for 1 tool from Carl O'Donnell.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, yeah.
But it's all about what you're getting. You're also getting, that Carl O'Donnell's got the name, and that dude's old school. His company's been there forever, and a lot of tradition there.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess kind of step back on the glass. So you're still making pipes and stuff, but not as much.
Oh, sure, yes. No. I mean, I
Okay.
literally just got back from Champs in Atlantic City, and we did Glass Vegas. So I'm just, we've been on this pipe thing. We go to all these trade shows for Melt to promote Melt, but we end up always taking our own glass. While we're there, we figure how we might as well try to sell glass and promote Melt at the same time. So usually me and Josh get a booth together, and my other partner Todd, all 3 of us will get a Melt booth, and we'll set up all of our own glass and sell it. But I'm kind of stocked up on pipes right now, so we sell them. But it's like it's one of those things. Champs was all right. It was a little slow for sales. I went and did the competition, so I got in the competition
Nice.
and did that, and then I had a booth set up for Melt, and then I also sold some glass. But there again, there was so much competition with the Chinese and the Indian people there. I think a lot of people that go to Champs nowadays, they're head shops, and they're there. Most of them are there to make money. They're not there to buy high-end rigs from, American glassblowers. They're there to get all the cheap stuff that they can fill their store with.
Yeah.
Glass Vegas was more of a collector's show. It's a really fun show, but as far as there was people buying stuff, but it doesn't seem like there's as many shops at that place. It's more collectors buying lots of work up, but they're spending a lot of money.
Huh. Yeah, kind of like the new version of Age.
Yeah, Age is kind of mixed between Age. You get collectors, but you get a lot of shops, so it's kind of the mix.
Yeah, and I heard mixed reviews from the Atlantic City Champs this year too, because this our industry is in such a weird flux. I don't want to get too sidetracked on this whole talk of the industry stuff, but it's definitely
no problem.
But it's definitely it's in a weird space right now. Like you're saying, there's this huge, continuing influx of glassblowers and one-trick ponies and just tons of smoke shops opening up.
Yeah,
I see
tons of them.
everywhere. It's like an oversaturated market, and I don't know if legalization has anything to do with it, or if it's just the way it's always been.
I'm sure that has a place for it. When you go to Champs, there's people selling the CBD stuff. They're selling the kratom, and then there's 1,000 shops that selling Chinese and Indian import pipes, and the pipes are just ridiculously cheap. It's just over the top how cheap these things are, and so when you look at them, it makes your heart sink because you're like, oh my god! They're selling these things for $6 wholesale.
Yeah.
It's something I would literally take an entire day to make and probably ask $400 for it, and they're literally getting $6 for it, and then they're probably turning around and selling it for $40 at their shop.
Exactly.
So they're making money, but they're really, I don't know. I have friends that have head shops. And they definitely support the American-made stuff, but they make a lot of money on that Chinese stuff. So can't hold it against them because they got to make money.
Yeah, but to me, in a business sense, I would rather spend $100 on a pipe wholesale and then sell it for $200 because I know I'm gonna make $100 off of it, instead of spending $2 on a pipe to sell it for $10 to make $8 on it. You know what I mean?
You got to hit that market because there's people that just can't afford $200.
Oh yeah, I get that. But to me, that's what the locals come in, like the newbies that shouldn't be making rigs right away. They should be making spoons, and they should be the ones that are taking this fucking market down. Like I said, I want to get too on a rant here, dude, because all these new, the thousands of new glass blowers out there right now are the ones that can start the trend to stop the import shit because they can make the stuff that the import people are making and sell it for the same fucking price.
Yes.
And the quality is probably going to be just as good. You know what I mean? There's no reason for it.
The quality with the Chinese stuff and the Indian stuff is, like I said, some of it's painted, some of it has this. When you look at it, it's like, oh, there's something off with that thing, and then you feel it, and there might be some kind of coating on it. And there's always, they're definitely not the same quality, but they're still. It's making people go into a shop and they say instead of buying a $200 piece, they're like, well, I could buy this for $20. Be like, it looks crazier because it probably is crazier. There's a lot more work in it, but it's it's just how it's made.
Yeah.
Because people are getting paid like $1 a day.
Yeah, exactly. But then you wonder how it functions. But then at the same time, like I hear about these people that are making $30,000-$40,000 rigs that the function sucks.
Yeah, that's always probably common too, because they're focused more on the art aspect.
Right, exactly. Yeah, again,
I try to be there in the middle somewhere. I like to make my average pieces between $400 and $800 wholesale. That's what I like to shoot for. And then I still jump back in and make spoons and sidecars and Sherlocks, and I make literally everything. I don't discriminate. I jump all over the place.
I love it, dude. I love doing wrap and rake still.
Mm-hmm. I just did some last night. I just jumped back in. I was like, I'm going to do some wrap and rake spoons.
Isn't it fun?
Well, I went to a festival last weekend, and I sold pretty much all my little stuff, and I got stuck with them and had all these big, nice, elaborate pieces, and it just, that show, sometimes it's a hit or miss, and everybody wanted little cheap stuff, so I sold all my cheap stuff. Now I'm out, so I got to make more.
Hell yeah. I like to revisit the old stuff just to see, like, if it's changed at all with my current level of skill level, you know what I mean? Like if it's gotten any better. And for me, I find it all looks the same. It looks exactly like it did 10 years ago, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, that's when I started doing the wrap and rake last night, and I started flaring open bells on points. That's how I used to do my inside out work.
Oh, yeah.
I'd pull points, flare open bells, do my artwork, and then put two bells together, heat them up, and stretch them out. And then I'd have two sections that I could make. Yeah, I could do like a hammer or a sidecar or a Sherlock. So last night I actually started making some old school, just fume dot inside out bells. So we're gonna do that for the next couple of days. I'm just gonna play with some old school stuff.
Heck yeah, I think it's great. I've been wanting to do a whole like generational timeline of like from the beginning of the fume spoon to where we are now. In my line of work with my wise guys with the little owls I do, and just do like a whole fucking series of like, okay, this is where we were back in like '92, and here's where we are now, and you can see the
no doubt. You could. I mean, like I said, because a lot of things have changed, and it's really changed a lot in the last 10 years have gone by, and the progression in glass blowing is just through the roof.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's overwhelming. Like when I was at Glass Vegas, I walked in there and I'm like, you're overwhelmed. I feel like I'm a pretty accomplished glass blower, but you see just every booth in there is a very accomplished glass blower. And you're like, oh my God. And it's like a whole room full of glass. And you see pieces there that they have for $1 million. Like, are you kidding me? Like there's a glass piece that they are asking $1 million for? Oh yeah. We were just talking about the big crazy pieces, and they make it in a couple days there, sell it for $50,000, $60,000. And it's amazing these guys are doing that. I mean,
yeah,
I'd
God
love
bless.
to be able to do that.
Yeah, you and me both.
I'd love to be able to do that. I mean, there's occasionally I'm happy if I make a piece and sell it for like $1,500 or $1,600. I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. Even 5 years ago, I wasn't selling pieces over $500.
Right.
And because I never focused on trying to make big crazy pieces. I was always doing the grind, going to these like shows and festivals, and selling stuff for anywhere from $50 to $150.
Yeah, and that's like I was saying pre-show, that's going to be my long-term focus myself, is doing, not in the pipe world, but just in the glass in general, is to really focus on that.
I like making pipes. I mean, I like the fact that it's usually the people that buy the pipes, they appreciate the glass so much more. Like I'd go to all these craft festivals selling wine glasses and jewelry and stuff, and you get these little old ladies come up and they'll buy it. They'll probably just buy a piece of, a little perfume bottle or something, stick it on a shelf, never really use it. At least somebody that takes a pipe, they usually buy them and they use them, and they appreciate it every day.
Yeah.
I like that aspect of it.
Yeah, I do too. I've always appreciated the ceremonial aspect, and sharing with a group of friends in a sense, and the depths. Because I know, like, before I started making stuff, and seeing some of these pieces that were coming off tour, and like these, I don't even know who it was, but they were making like these potato shaped, just silver inside out fume spoons, and it was the craziest, most intricate patterns on the inside, and I used to love just sitting there and just like trying to figure out how the fuck this dude did this, but also just appreciate the fact of what's going on inside this piece of glass.
Yeah. And I said, that's cool. And, I don't think I'll ever quit making pipes. I mean, I've been making them for my whole life. Even before I was a glass blower, even like when in high school, I was like the guy that made the pipes. I would go and buy a Jenga, like that board game Jenga. Where I would literally go buy one of those games and sit in my bedroom at night and carve pipes out of these things and buy brass fittings and stick in them. And I'd take them to school and sell them for like $2 or $3 to friends.
That's amazing.
I was doing that when I was like 14, 15 years old.
Hell yeah. Yes, and same here, dude. I'm a piper at heart, and which with this show is, most of the guests coming on here are pipe makers just because of the nature of who I am too. But it's, for me, the pipe is like I say, at work all the time. I get people coming in and asking me, "Oh, can you make me a Mickey Bong?" Just kind of joking around, But then I'll get the occasional person coming in. Like yesterday, I had a guest come in and was asking if I made pipes, and I was like, not here is always my answer. Like if I smoke, I'm like, well, not cigarettes. I'm not gonna give you a direct answer, but I'll beat around the bush a little bit. But we started talking about it, and I was like, yeah, man, this is like the pipes taught me everything that I know. I wouldn't be here sitting at the happiest place on earth, living my childhood dream without the pipes in my life.
Oh, you can learn so much from making a pipe. I mean, you make a nice bubbler and think about all the processes you go through to make that bubbler.
Yeah.
I mean, how many different techniques and skills you have to make it.
Yeah, going back to the newbies, who can push a fucking downstem?
Yeah. Well, my partner, Todd, when he started blowing glass maybe 6 years ago, maybe going on 7, but I made him give his first 100 spoons away. I was like,
nice.
Because he didn't need the money. He has a regular job. He makes a lot of money. And I was like, you don't need to do this. I was like, just, make 100 spoons. And I was like, keep track. And I was like, give 100 of them away. I was like, no matter how nice they come out or whatever, just give them away. I was like, if you want to keep one and smoke out of it, whatever you want to do. And he did it. He literally gave every one of them away. And I was like, in the long run, I was like, you're not hurting yourself. You learned a bunch. I was just like, and you didn't put no junk out now. You're not selling junk. I was like, you might have gave one away, but you never charged somebody for it.
Yeah, that's smart.
So
yeah, that wash, rinse, repeat, man. It's got to get that muscle memory, and next thing you know, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, he still keeps track. I think he has a tally board somewhere where all this, he's an accountant by trade.
Right.
So he's super numbers man, and so he basically keeps track of every single piece he makes. He knows how many spoons he made, how many pendants he made. It's nuts.
That's funny. That's a good person to have in your life, though, man, having an accountant like that around.
Oh, except when you go out and party.
Touche.
Yeah, he's our accountant. He's one of my partners from Melt, too, so he's like our accountant for Melt.
Hell yeah. That's killer. Yeah, man, so speaking of Melt, it's a good time for us to get into that. So, we talked about, AGI and a lot of these other, different organizational type of things that are going on in the glass community for educational space.
Yeah.
And, I saw you guys did this a couple years back, and I was just like, this is so fucking cool. What a great idea, like summer camp for glass blowers, kind of concept. So, where was it that you guys had this idea?
So, basically, I mean, we brought up AGI. If people don't know what that is, it's called Art Glass Invitational. It's in Pennsylvania also. It's up by Pittsburgh. My friend Tom Donor and his wife Elaine run it. And basically their philosophy, everybody's a teacher, everybody's a student kind of thing. And you basically show up for the week. They have a little area where you can camp out. And then it was like community grills and all that kind of stuff. And I went there and then, for the first year I went, I kind of showed up just to blow glass. I didn't know anybody at the time. That was back in 2001 or something like that. And I basically just started, like, I brought a bunch of food and I was cooking, and they're like, oh, you want to start cooking for us? So I basically took that role for them and basically cooked for I don't even know how many years. And I got to meet a lot of glass blowers and, learn how to, run an event like that sort of. And basically from there, I was just like, I think we could just do so much more. I think we should. I like the idea of having a summer camp, kind of atmosphere. So, it was like 3 years ago, whatever. I was hanging out with Josh and my other partner, Paul Catherman, and we started talking about like, hey, we should try to throw on like a glass blowing event where everybody comes and they stay there for the week. And I was like, but it'd be nice to have cabins to sleep in. So we started looking around at like different summer camps and like corporate retreat camps, in Pennsylvania.
Mm-hmm.
And we found one that popped up. It's called Independent Lake Camp, and that's where we actually have Melt at, and it's up in the Poconos. Beautiful, beautiful, like summer camp, And we called them up on the phone, and they were like, oh, that sounds really cool. We do other things besides just summer camp, and they were like, when the place is on its downtime. So we went and met them and checked the place out, and they were all for trying it, and so we just kind of said, hey, we're doing it. And none of us really ever did anything quite like it. We just kind of, I have 5 partners. So Sean Gold, people know him as a big glass collector in the industry. Paul Catherman, he goes by Paulie Two Fingers. He makes like all the steal your face pendants. You might see him online a lot.
Yeah.
Josh Mazzei, and then Todd Dunlap and myself, and we basically all have our own little part in it. I kind of like organize the kitchen and get the interns and stuff like that. Josh and Todd kind of run the front of the office kind of thing. Paul's our electrician, and Sean's just like a party guy. So he just like, he doesn't even really party. He doesn't drink or anything, but he likes to throw the parties.
Hell yeah.
He's professional. He's like a professional at throwing parties. And So we found this camp. We basically started contacting some of our friends that are, more famous artists, and try to get some of them on board, and basically just started selling tickets and kind of just rolled the dice. So that's where it's at today. It worked out really good. I think, I mean, I think we made everybody happy. We definitely all have been to all these events, and we know what to offer at them. We know what to expect. So when you go to like someplace, we talked about going to Vegas, you have to go out there. You have to spend how much? $1,800 to get a booth. You get, on top of that, you got to spend $6 for a bottle of water. You got to, by the time you end up leaving, you're spending $3,000-$4,000 just traveling and doing all this stuff. And what are you getting out of it? How I might break even selling, $4,000 worth of glass. So there's a free trip basically.
Yeah, exactly.
But we wanted something like Melt where, you buy your ticket, you get one price. Once you pay that money, you literally don't have to think about anything else while you're there. I mean, everything else. You show up. Every single person that comes, you get your cabin to sleep in. They have running water, toilet, showers. They got all the electricity, everything you need in them. So they're not the best cabins. Think of a summer camp. Think of the movie Meatballs.
Mm-hmm.
When they're summer camp, 100%. But you have a nice space. And if it rains, you don't have to worry about your tent leaking, and you can take a hot shower. And then we also have the food aspect. That's kind of where I come into play. I kind of oversee the whole food organization and serving and all that. And we have a pretty big staff we put together for that. And we're not talking like it's quality food. I mean, literally, we spend a huge part of our budget on the food part. I mean, we're feeding them crab legs and shrimp and New York strip steaks, and we have pig roast, and we do 4 meals a day. We do breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then at 11 o'clock I turn all the outside kitchen on. We have an outside kitchen. We built it ourselves while we're there. We actually put like 5 torches in there. Last year we had 5 torches and a lathe in our kitchen, so my kitchen staff could blow glass.
It's amazing.
We don't want everybody to be left out. We have over 150 torches set up at Melt, blowing glass at one time.
Yeah, so like the logistics of getting all the power set up and the tents and dude, you guys got your hands full. Holy shit.
From the first year to the second year, we only had maybe 120 people, like including staff members the first year. And then we kind of went the wrong route. We were trying to make it a music festival also, which was just it was all trial and error for us because we didn't know what we were doing. Yeah. But we want the live music anyhow because we kind of narrowed it down now how we do that. But the first year we had 16 bands that it was a full-on music festival. Every night we had 4 bands come in and play music, and it was a disaster because, not on anybody's part except for us, because nobody watched the music. I'm not joking. Nobody watched the music, and we actually had some pretty prestigious bands, like nothing like ridiculous, but every band was like $1,000 or $1,200. So they weren't cheap bands,
right?
By no means, but they were just they're big jam bands for like festivals and stuff like that. But nobody watched them. Nobody would leave the glass blowing tents, so everybody was just blowing glass and working. So we kind of underestimated the market with that. So last year we kind of got rid of the bands except for the last night. We just have a big party and we have live music, and then throughout the week we just have DJs playing music inside the glass blowing tents.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good idea though, man, because I know as yourself included, I'm sure once you get grinding and you don't want to pull yourself away.
These guys are, they're just working nonstop. When you go into these tents, it's actually truly, it's a sight to see, because the first year we bought a tent, it was 40 foot by 80 foot. And they have these tennis courts. We set it up on the tennis court. And then we had another little thing for greasy glass to set up. And everything was just a lot more small scale. Well, last year, we went out and bought a tent that was, twice as big. So now it's like 90 foot by 90 foot.
Wow.
And then we bought a whole nother tent that's a circus tent that's on the basketball court, and that's set up for like the stage for the demos and like the alternate, like all the staff and interns and different stuff. And then so from now we have these huge tents that, like, we had to amass these things over the last 2 years. We've been buying this stuff, and like that was a lot of work. And then we have to get generators in there. Getting all the oxygen tanks and propane tanks. We went through 60 100-pound propane tanks and like 52 liquid oxygen tanks last year.
Holy
in 1
shit.
week. That's 1 week. 1 week. Yeah, that's a nightmare. I actually have to contact the gas company like 2 months in advance, because they have to start rounding up tanks to get to like they actually have to round them up like other hubs, like all the different other oxygen
Right.
company. Like it's all one company, Praxair, but they don't have that many oxygen tanks at that location. So it takes them 2 months to like pull them from other locations, so we can use them.
That's awesome though that they're willing to do that because air gas probably would tell you guys to go fuck yourself.
What was that?
I said if it's good that they're doing that because if it was air gas, they'd probably tell you to go fuck yourself.
Yeah, Prax was really good about it. I mean, I know it's a lot of work for them to try to get, because this where we have the camp at, it's literally in the middle of nowhere. I mean, it's an hour north of Scranton, in the middle of the mountains. Huh. So it's a long drive anywhere. The closest town, city like Scranton's like an hour away. Like that's like the biggest area to get anything.
So cool though, man. I mean, just to be able to go to that environment and turn a torch on and blow glass would just be amazing. Much less with all these other artists there and the environment that it's.
Well, so through
cool.
the week, then we have. We have our featured artists there. They're always on there. We have demos going throughout the day. But you don't have to watch the demos. You can literally blow glass anytime you want while you're there. When you buy a torch spot, that's your spot. So basically, you can work anytime you want to work. Doesn't matter what's going on. And there's always probably 50 people working at a time. Sometimes at nighttime, that's when everybody's really in there, and the whole tents will be full. But through the day, there's almost too much other stuff to do than blow glass.
Yeah.
I mean, the summer camp itself is, I don't know how many hundreds of acres. I mean, it has a 45-acre lake. So the lake has paddle boats and kayaks, canoes. There's a massive skate park there. A lot of guys spend their afternoons back there skating. And then, like I said, then we're just, you're eating 4 times a day. I mean, there's a lot of socializing going on. But then there's the demos happening usually from 10 o'clock in the morning till 7 o'clock at night. And, that's whoever's, it's all about what it's scheduled or whatever. But, and then any other time, some people wake up early and blow glass all day. Some people show up late because they stayed up all night. I usually, I don't go to bed till 7 o'clock almost every morning. That's my schedule. I'll go to bed at 7. Right when I figure out the kitchen staff's coming in to start making breakfast, I'll go get 2 or 3 hours of sleep, wake back up, get ready for lunch rush, and then we'd be cooking dinner all day long, getting ready for dinner.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys need a month off to recover.
I'm usually up there about a week and a half beforehand. I usually get up there about a week and a half, and then we start setting up, and then we have to stay about a week after to usually break everything down. Yeah, that's a ton of work. That's usually the sad part. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we did all this and now it's over. So, but other than that, I mean, there's also, like I said, throughout the week, I mean, there's always little micro parties going on at night. I mean, Sean Gold, my buddy, he sets up and has probably one of the most elaborate cabin parties in the history of mankind. You ask anybody that's actually been there for the Melton's, been to his party, they're like, what in the hell is going on? I mean, he literally brings in walls and walls and walls of alcohol. Everything's free. It's like a big freaking free party. You show up and, or making any kind of mixed drink you can put your hands on. He has 40 different kinds of beer, making all these different late night foods. And we do this all up at his cabin, which is out in the group of where everybody's sleeping at.
That's too cool. Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you're saying the cabins sleep 24, but you don't let you fill them up.
Yeah,
to
we don't
6
stack them. I mean, yeah, we put each cabin. Some of the cabins are different, but on average, we put 5 to 6 people per cabin. So you actually have your own bunk bed thing, and then there's usually a bunk bed and a little group of cubbies in between each person. So you kind of have your own little cubby corner.
Yeah.
So, and then when you actually sign up to get tickets and stuff, you can actually request, if you have people that you're going with or people you're going to know, you can request to be in those cabins, and we'll put you all in the same cabins you want to be in.
Heck yeah. Thinking back to my childhood though, going to camp, it was always the anxiety, but the fun side of going to camp and not knowing really anybody and getting to meet all these new people and make new friends. I think it's this aspect of it with our community is it's so fucking cool.
And some people like that. We actually have people that request. I have a couple of my good friends that come, and they're coming with their other friends. They're like, you want to get in the same camp? And he's like, no, I like to be put in with other people. They just like that aspect of just being chucked in there and not knowing anybody. So you might get burned. You never know. Right. We definitely always have a couple complaints about people snoring. We actually, I think Todd, them guys set up a snoring cabin this year. They were penalizing a couple people because apparently they snored so loud. So, yeah.
Oh, it's so funny. That's the kind of shit though you got to think about that you don't think about. You
don't think about it because I just know how. Well, I traveled some of these events with my buddy Todd, and that dude snores. Him and Sean Gold, man, they're biggest snorers ever.
That's so funny.
And they just literally the loudest snorers. I put my headphones in, turn it up as loud as I can, and they're still all you can hear is wah, wah. Jesus. Luckily, when we're in Vegas or Atlantic City, I can just go down and gamble the rest of the night. sometimes you got to do that. You can't even deal with sleeping with them.
Right. But,
But
do you think, like, your whole past, though, with the glass blowing and being self-taught and the things you've had to go through to really learn this whole process has helped you guys all together just figure this shit out? Like, hey, we're going to go do this, and let's just go. Because, glass is like that. You just go fucking do it. You can't talk about it. You just go do it.
One good thing, I mean, I feel, that we're all pretty thorough guys, and I think that's what made it such a good success for us is we try to focus on everybody. I mean, we want every single person there. If you have a problem, let us know. We want to fix it.
Yeah.
And we roll with the flow. If anything happens, like last year, Marcel came out with Project 33, and they brought out like his whole entire studio, like that big furnace, like Draco. I mean, it was just a big amount of moving stuff, and we had them hooked into the power lines of the building for the actual cafeteria. And granted, this is an industrial cafeteria that it's 18,000 square foot cafeteria. It can feed 1,000 people. You can have 1,000 people sitting there eating.
Wow.
We had him set up in this thing, so you think it has like 15 convection ovens, pizza ovens. I mean, it's made to feed a camp. But we hooked him into the power grid of this thing with all his furnaces and stuff. And about 2:00 in the morning on the first day, it was like Monday night, he burned out the power of the building. It actually blew the transformer out on the road and caught on fire. There was a huge fire. Yeah, so we actually burned the freaking transformer out of the place from drawing so much power out of the thing.
Holy
and this is, like I said, this is an industrial building that's supposed to be able to take that kind of stuff. And so the fire department had to come, put the fire out, and it wasn't our fault. I mean, it was basically the transformer was old. They should have had a better transformer in there. They actually fixed it by next morning and had it up and going within like 6 hours. They were really quick, which I was shocked. My buddy we have a firefighter that we take up there, and he's just all about the whole local. He hooked up with all the local fire departments, and so he's wired into everything for us. So if anything happens, we know it all real quick.
Man, you guys got a fucking hell of a team together. It's so smart.
Well, that's the other good part is we have such a good group of friends, and we started this all out. None of us. I mean, this is our third year. We're still not making a profit, so none of us. Nobody's getting paid. The only the only people get paid is a couple artists, but other than that, we put out. We have so many of our friends. Like our staff is all people that we know. So there are people that a lot of them, half the staff's people I met at AGI over the years. The other half are just some friends of ours, just all really close friends of mine from like my local house that don't even blow glass, like my local area. And we have to have we have a 50-man crew for staff. And then on top of that, we do an intern program. So we always announce that like right around Glass Vegas, we do the intern program where you can sign up for it. And you basically get a half price ticket and you have to work and you get, you be behind the scenes and all that kind of stuff. And so this year we're probably looking at like 65 intern and staff members that come and help put this on.
Awesome.
And, they're all people that, I've known for years and my friends have known for years, and they're people you can trust, and they're just there to work their asses off, and they don't expect nothing in return. They're just there to help.
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty again of our community, man. We're all one big happy family willing to make this shit work however we got to do it.
And it takes, like I said, it takes that many. I mean, we have to have the camp's really big, so we rent all these golf carts. So we have shuttles running to take people back and forth to their cabin, so you don't got to walk all over the place. So there's always like people working that. There's people working in the office, registering people. We have people cleaning trash up. My kitchen staff's about 10 people solid that they're just in there all day long cooking. I try to get the people in the kitchen that want to be there. When I always make the announcement for staff, I'm like, if you don't want to be in the kitchen, you don't got to be. I'd rather have somebody that gives a shit than 5 people that don't give a shit.
Yeah. Especially with food.
You want people that actually, I don't like to serve anything that I wouldn't eat myself.
Yeah.
I want it to be good. If it's not good, we're like, you don't want people going like, it was a mediocre. I like the food to be top notch.
Yeah, man. It sounds like you guys are hooking this shit up, like above and beyond.
This year we got a pretty ridiculous lineup. I don't know. Have you seen the lineup at all yet?
Yeah.
So I mean, basically, so this year's melt is September 10th through the 14th. So it's Monday through Friday, and basically you show up Monday morning. That the gates open up for registration. I mean, we have all these people there greeting you. I mean, we have this massive melt sign with all these inflatable balloons, and I mean, we try to make it like this huge like entry thing into like this magical place.
Yeah.
And you get there and you see the huge glass blown tents going on. I mean, it's pretty amazing when you see 150 torches all set up and running at the same time. And that's not even counting hand torches and all the kilns. I mean, it's just so much stuff, so much equipment set up at one spot. And then you see this all-star lineup of artists, and you're like, holy shit, these guys, you'll be working right beside you look over and be like, oh shit, there's freaking Salt, and he's like blowing glass right beside me, and he's like, I've been blowing glass for like 2 months. And you get some of these guys like him, like Salt. He was a beast. I mean, he was seriously one of the most stand-up guys you could ever have on your lineup. I mean, he was there. He was a machine. He worked the whole time. I mean, from dusk till dawn, that dude was on the torch blowing glass. And even when he wasn't demoing, I mean, he did some really in-depth demos. And then when he wasn't on the demo, he went right back to his torch spot and just blew glass. And I think he did like 26 collaboration pieces with artists there that week, on top of making I don't know how many pieces himself solo. But all these kids were so excited because they were, they haven't blown glass for a year or two, and they look up to Salt, and he just like, yeah, I'll make a piece with you. Then I think he ended up taking a lot of pieces and trying to help sell them, and I mean, it was just nuts.
That's too cool. Yeah, he's definitely down to earth, man. And like in terms of like the educational side of things, he's really good.
Yeah, he's a very good teacher.
Yeah.
Like, well, all the guys we had on that first year. I mean, we had like Micah Evans. That dude's just a phenomenal teacher. I mean, he really knows the ins and outs of it. His demo was great. Coyle was a really good teacher.
Yep.
Who else was on there? I can't remember. There was Micro. Yeah, he was Micro. I'd sad he can't come this year. We're really disappointed. He's been there the last 2 years, and he has to do Glass Reach rescheduled their event for the same week as Melt this year.
Huh.
So that kind of sucks for us. Well, it sucks for them too. It sucks all around.
Yeah.
But we lost Micro over that because he basically, I think he does pretty good at those shows selling stuff. But we still got Krunkenstein coming, so
nice.
So we also have we just got a Cowboy on board, so he's one of our new features. He's old school. Brandon Martin, Nico Cray. Last year, Nico really stepped up and jumped in and did a demo and did like a full shark demo. Have you ever seen his sharks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, those things are phenomenal. This year, I'm sure, hopefully it'll be a snake.
Right.
Like I said, his snakes are on point.
Yeah, he does some super cool shit for sure. And it's guys like him, I love to see the evolution of their work, because he was known very early on for the sharks and stuff, and now he's just get a name.
Really I mean, he's just a really good artist all around. You can tell just the way he does stuff. I mean, I got to see him out at Las Vegas. He was right across from us, and his new snake. All those things are just they're insane to see in person, because I always thought they were really small. They're actually large, like really big.
Huh.
When I first saw them online, you always think, oh, that's probably like 6-8 inches or something like that. Like little micro rigs. They're like they're over a foot. They're pretty big.
No shit.
Yeah. So he's coming. Who else have we got on there? Kai Beck's coming back.
Nice.
Zariel Shore is going to be on the list. He's actually been there the last 2 years. You know his work?
I'm not familiar.
Zariel Shore, he does like Rose Road style, like dot stacks.
Okay, yeah. But, I'm sure I've seen it.
But really, he's really clean. I mean, he's a really good up and coming kid. I mean, he's younger and he's just super, super talented guy. But we actually put him on the lineup this year. White Monkey's coming back. Don Chili will be there. Ryan Rosberg, Hick Dog will be there. I just hung out with him in Atlantic City like all weekend. Dapo's coming back. Tim Kaiser's going to be there. He's going to be doing some electroforming demos, which is pretty cool. We never had him anything like that before. Who else we got? Nathan Belmont. I got to see his work. You know his work?
Oh yeah.
He was out of Las Vegas, and man, his stuff is awesome.
Yeah, he's a badass. I had him on the show a couple years ago. He's a good dude.
Yeah, he was really cool to hang out with too. So I'm excited to see him coming. We got a couple cool chicks. Windstar, she just won two first places at Champs last week. Who else is a chick? Amy Likes Fire.
Yeah.
We got to see her at Las Vegas.
Nice.
Then we have my buddy Glass Strauss. You're talking about soft glass. We actually have a soft glass truck that comes and sets up.
Yeah, that's what I thought you guys did. I was talking about that with a friend about that yesterday. That you guys were doing soft glass demos.
It's actually parked outside my house right now. My buddy Kalen, he goes his company is called Glass Routes, and he's been doing it for quite a few years. He took like an old 1964 like box truck kind of thing, and he converted it into this. It has a furnace, glory hole, kilns, everything in it, and he takes it to like festivals and stuff like that, and like little town things.
Yeah.
Just do demos. So we talked him into coming up to Melt last year, which he loved it. So he's on board for the next 5 years.
How's the weather that time of year? Because it seems like September in the Poconos is gorgeous.
Well, the first year we actually did it like the end of September.
Okay.
And we got hit with some fluke ass weather. I mean, it was beautiful the whole week setting up. We were out there in our shorts, t-shirts, sandals in the middle of the night, 4 a.m, out on the paddle boats, like before it even started. And then literally the day melt started, it dropped to like 45 degrees.
Wow.
And got so cold. And everybody was, I mean, it was fine because the tents was actually really warm while the glass blowing was.
Right.
But at nighttime it got cold, and it was rainy, and it was just miserable. Last year was a blessing. I mean, literally every day was beautiful. I mean, downright gorgeous weather. So, but we moved it up. It's 2 weeks. So we're right, the first week in September is usually like awesome weather.
Yeah, it's always one of those things you just can't control. Unfortunately.
Well, like there again. Well, the first year I remember, like, soon as melt was over, literally like the day after melt was over, the sun cleared up, it got beautiful as hell, and then it was like 90 degrees all through October.
Oh wow!
And I'm like, what the hell? It's like we had that 1 week. I mean, that's the good thing about melt is you're lucky that you got a roof over your head. It's not a tent, and you got hot water. You take hot showers. So that's always a plus.
So do you guys have to deal with all the bedding, like the laundry and shit too, from all the beds?
That's the only thing. It's BYOB.
Cool.
Bring your own bedding.
That's why I'm bringing it up. Yeah. I'm kind of curious because that's like, I travel with a pillow.
On our website, like when you go on our website, it's eastcoastmelt.com. It literally it breaks down anything and everything that you would need and want to bring. I mean, it tells you from what your torch is, what equipment you might want. I mean, it literally has everything on there. So you definitely, the more, if you're driving, I tell people the more stuff you can bring, bedding and pillows, the more comfortable you're going to be. I take up literally like 20 blankets and like 15 pillows. I'm like, I got myself like a little cave. So I like to be comfortable when I sleep. I only sleep like 4 hours a night while I'm there. So
yeah, you need a nest for sure.
But there again, if you're flying, it's hard. So that makes it a little tricky. We try to help out. We have bought we have a good handful of freaking, well, probably 10 or 12 sleeping bags and pillows. We have just big bags of them that we bought the first year that we hooked up people that forgot.
Nice.
And then we just at the end of the week they bring them back, and we can have them washed, and then we'll have them for next year. So we have that, but I don't suggest people to count on that just because then we might run out. We also have a little store that I set up in the cafeteria where I buy like extra sleeping bags, pillows, towels, soap, shampoo.
Oh, dude,
I built like a full on
super smart.
Yeah, I put that. Yeah, I did that the first year. I was like, I'm gonna make a little country store, and I was just like, so I kind of set that up, and then I bought like cases of candy and soda, and it was all gone like within like a couple days. So I was like, this last year I literally doubled that. I had this massive shit set up.
Fuck yeah, that's where you make all your profits at right there, dude.
Well, it helps a little bit. It's not like all of it. Melt. That's the thing about melt. I mean, people they think of it and they think, oh, these guys are making all this money, and they're and I understand tickets are a little pricey, and we can start there. Like, for a torch ticket for Melt, now that's your whole week stay, your place to stay, all your meals, your torch spot. It's $1,100, but that gets you a lot. You can also come as a spectator, which is $900, and that gets you everything except for a torch spot. That doesn't mean you can't blow glass. That just means you don't have your own personal spot. So if you talk to somebody and they're not using their spot at the time, if they want to let you use their spot, you can totally jump on and blow glass. We always recommend, if you're coming in a group of like 2 or 3 people, get one torch spot and share it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask.
And that's just more. And the reason I always tell that more than anything, because there's so much going on, so much to do. You don't have time to blow glass the whole time. So if you can share it with somebody, you're way better off. And we're not like sticklers about like we encourage it.
So if that was the case, so would you guys then charge one torch spot and then the other one
torch spot, and the rest of them are spectators? Yes. Okay. Yeah. And then when you sign up on your tickets and everything, that we literally ask every aspect. I mean, we'll ask if you're vegan, vegetarian, meat eater, if you have any kind of food allergies. We ask what your torch is, so we know what to hook you onto. I mean, we ask, and then if you have people you want to be with in your cabin, you can write that down and put it in the notes, and we'll make sure you're in the cabin with somebody that you're with. So it's all very flexible how we do it.
You guys actually sound professional.
We try. I mean, like I said, we tried. There again, we put this show on. I always say this is a show for glass blowers put on by glass blowers. Because we went to all these events and we know what I didn't like. I hated when I have to go to an event and spend when I went to Michigan, I didn't have to spend that much, but we always try to get nice rooms. My buddy Sean, he's obsessed with like bed bugs and stuff. So, but hotel rooms were like $350 a night there. And for this is for Michigan Glass Project, and I'm like, we ended up spending $700 for 2 nights to stay there in a hotel, and then you go in and it's like $5 for a bottle of water, and then you got to you have to buy this meal, buy that meal, Uber to here, Uber to there, you end up spending a lot of money. So in the long run, when you get 4 meals a day for a week and a place to stay, and you get to take all these classes, $1,100 really doesn't go that far.
Man,
we put all the money back into the event.
It's a fucking steal. Honestly.
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, and we didn't want we were all talking about we might have to raise the price at some point because we're not really showing a profit yet. But we've been spending money on we had to buy these tents. The one tent we bought last year was like $30,000, so we actually had to pay for that. So that was kind of if we wouldn't have had to do that, we might have actually broke even. Right. So that might have helped. But those tents are bought and paid for now, which is nice. So hopefully that'll be an expenditure we won't have this year. But then, food, I mean, we really go above and beyond with how much food we feed these people and the quality of the food. I mean, there's literally no restrictions on what we get. I mean, even like I said, the vegans, vegetarians, if you say you're a vegan, vegetarian, we try to go out of our way. I'm not a good vegetarian, vegan chef, but we literally go out of our way to try to make sure that they have special. I mean, I go to Whole Foods and spend a ridiculous amount of money on fake food for them.
Yeah. And there's always
usually there's 8-10 of them usually every time.
Yeah, man, you got Pinterest too. You can go on there and get some good recipes.
Well, I'm hoping this year I'm gonna try to substitute. I'm gonna try to bring a vegetarian vegan food truck in.
Oh, nice.
To help out,
Smart.
And alleviate me from not dealing with, because I try to focus all my energy on, I have my buddy show up that has this huge smoker and we're smoking ribs and chicken and pigs. We got a 350-pound pig last year for the party.
I heard.
It was badass.
Yeah, it's awesome.
But he also did ribs one night. He did racks of ribs. I mean, I think we did 100 racks of ribs. And
man, I would go for the food alone.
Well, that's kind of why I always try to push. That was what we always said about AGI back in the day. We were like, people come for glass, but man, we were always trying to. They would kind of give me free reign too, and I'd always try to come up with, I'd always do an Italian night, and then we would do the pig roast, and we do all these different theme nights. I have this big iron kettle, it's like a 40-gallon iron kettle that we built a fire outside, and we make a humongous pot of turkey corn soup. So that's Thursday. I'll do that Thursday this year. I always call it the soup party. We do all these Italian sausages and stuff in the smoker, and then we make this massive pot of turkey corn soup. And we cut it all off the cob, 20 dozen ears of corn off the cob, and I think last year I did 3 30-pound turkeys. I mean, it's a lot. I mean, this thing was full to the top. I mean, it's insane to see that much soup. So every night, at 11 o'clock, we fire up the fryers and we're making fresh cut fries and chili dogs and, gourmet grilled cheeses and whatever anybody really wants. The whole time we have a brewery that comes up and sets up and gives away beer.
Nice.
So yeah, so we have this they're good friends of ours from my hometown, Roy Pitts, and they make all these different sours and they have all kinds of different IPAs, and so they set that up, and usually all the sponsors like ABR last year and Covington, they would sponsor kegs, so they'd buy 2 kegs for that day, and so everybody, there'd just be a nonstop drink fest.
So do you guys kind of try to not babysit, but in a sense kind of regulate people not getting too shit-faced on the torches out there?
We don't normally have that problem. Cool. Usually the people that are there drinking are drinking.
Right.
The people that aren't, the cool thing about this is it's all private property. There ain't nobody coming in telling me what we can and cannot do, because it's 100% a huge private resort.
Yep.
So, we don't really have to worry about too much sound and, any of that kind of thing. And, yeah, we don't really have too many. Occasionally, you always have 1 or 2 people stumble. And I know the night Sean Gold's party, there was a couple people stumbling out of the woods at 8 in the morning.
Oh, I'm sure.
People with no shoes. They're like, where am I at? That was pretty funny. I mean, I can still remember that one. I can't remember who it was, but this one guy, we thought he was that's Bigfoot, man. He comes walking out of the woods. It was cold. And he had no shirt on. He lost his shoes. I mean, he looked like a monster. He was seriously 6'5". And I was like, damn, I could tell he'd been a bit Bigfoot. So that was pretty good.
That's amazing.
But we always, you always, sometimes you have a bad egg here too, but most of the time it always straightens itself out.
Yeah.
I think you don't want too many people get on you. But another thing we offer is we do 2-day passes. So we try to get shops. We the first year we kind of started to, but it didn't really pan out because we didn't really have a name yet. I think now that we've been going to every event and really promoting the hell out of it, I think most of the people kind of know about it. So we don't have to go out of our way to explain it to somebody once they hear about it. But the first year, we didn't have any stores or shops. Last year, we had a really good handful, probably 10 or 12 like shops and galleries that came up, and like Ruckus Gallery and a couple pretty big galleries came through. And it's a good way. I always tell, instead of going to a trade show, we can kind of incorporate this into that. It's not the whole thing. Basically, we try to do like a 2-day pass, like Thursday, Friday. We tell a shop to come in, and we do Thursday. We call it yard sale day, where basically anybody that has cases of glass, we take them all to the cafeteria and open up all your glass, and people can walk around and look at it.
Man, that is too cool, dude.
And last year, these shops and stores bought a lot of glass. So I mean, a lot of these guys paid for their tickets just from selling glass at Melt.
Yeah, what the hell else can you ask for?
Yeah, when I was talking to Hick Dog last week, and he's like, Melt was awesome. He's just like, it was like a vacation. On top of that, he's like, man, I sold like a bunch of stuff. He was just like, that shop bought a lot of glass from me.
Yeah, it's cool. And again, you get to network, you're socializing, you're melting glass, you're learning shit, you're eating some good fucking food, you get a chance to go out and play in the wilderness and exercise or whatever.
Skate park. Like I said. And then we had our fireworks show is above and beyond.
Yeah, that's what I was about to ask you.
Yeah, there again, that's Sean Gold again. Like I said, King of Parties. He has like a fireworks license or whatever, I guess.
No
or
kidding.
Whatever happens. Yeah, but he gets good stuff. And I mean, he put that on last year, and I finally was like, screw it, I'm going to watch this whole thing. I'm not worried about nothing else. So me and Josh, we actually went out on paddle boats and sat right in front of where he was, right out in the water. And it was badass. I mean, it went on for like 45 minutes.
No
I
kidding.
kept thinking it's over. And then all of a sudden, boom, this is the grand finale. This is the grand finale. Boom, oh my God, this is the grand finale. And it's like, and everybody was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this thing is going on and on and on, and it won't stop. Yeah, he went above and beyond last year with that thing.
Does he have a barge out in the lake or something that he puts it on?
No, he does it right along the shore,
okay.
Like away from the tents. It's like on the other side of the lake, kind of from where the cafeteria is. But we all, like I said, a bunch of people took boats out and kind of just parked right out there.
Yeah, dude, that sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, there was stuff like falling on us. I mean, we were right in front of it. But it was definitely really cool. And yeah, that was a good time.
I'm all too familiar with the shrapnel from fireworks for sure at work. I come out to my car sometimes, where my parking lot is. I park at from Magic Kingdom, and it'll have paper and shit all over it from the firework cans blowing up.
They're pretty good about cleaning that up usually, aren't they?
Yeah.
I remember I went there the one year, and like I said, they had vacuum cleaners, like lawnmower vacuum cleaners, following every parade that goes through. There's this like group of vacuum people coming through, like sucking stuff up.
Yeah, make you eat off those roads sometimes. I wouldn't, but you probably could,
Yeah, like I said, Disney's crazy. But on top of that, I mean, I'm trying to think what else we have. I mean, like I said, we have tons of vendors there. We get when you show up, you don't have to bring, if you don't want to travel with glass and all that stuff, we have like ABR there with a full store. So they literally have anything and everything that you might need. You got a ton of tool companies. We got people like Priority Pools set up selling glass. Griffin's there selling a ton of tools. Covington's there. He usually brings, like last year, he brought in a bunch of polishing wheels and grinders and saws. We had a sandblaster set up for people to use. There'll be a lathe or two there. Like I said, it's literally anything and everything glass that you could think of. Man,
so long term, do you guys have like a vision or a plan for this whole thing, or is it just kind of like 1 year at a time?
Well, we don't want to end it anytime. We just, I like to grow slowly.
Yeah.
I don't want to. Like they said, this camp actually can sleep 1,000 people, but I would never want to see that. I'd never want to see it actually go over like 500 people, because then that'd be at half capacity, and then you don't want to be stuffing people in bunk beds and all that kind of crap.
Right.
But, I mean, the place itself is big enough for us to do. I mean, I think last year we might have hit between 250 and 300 people. So I would like to see us hit that again, just in that area. I don't know if it goes a little bigger, that's fine. But I don't really want to grow too fast over the years. I think if we get too big too fast, it's going to take away from the attention we're trying to put on each aspect of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I just know how much more of a difficult operation it was last year compared to the first year. Even though the first year we didn't know what the hell we were doing, everything went real smooth. But it was only, like I said, 120 people, not counting the bands.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I mean, we got up to like over 250 people, and I'm like, holy shit, I was like, I've cooked for 100 people a lot, but man, when you start cooking for 250 people, 4 meals a day, that's a lot of food to cook. And it's like, to me, that's just a whole nother ass. That's why I have to start bringing in some food consultants and people that can actually help me, because I don't know how to do it all. I don't know how to accommodate for that many people. It's hard to even put that food order in at the beginning of the week.
Right.
I gotta I have to I'm on the phone, my buddy's on the phone. We're just like thinking about all the things in our head, what we might need to make each meal, and that's just like crazy to try to plan that much out.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the logistics behind everything. You guys,
My partner Sean,
it's amazing.
Todd and Josh Mazzei, they run the front of the place, and people are coming in and checking in. So they have like a crew of like they have a couple people here helping signing people in. Then we got shuttles, like golf carts taking people to their cabins, unloading their stuff. But they have to figure out the whole cabin system of who goes in what cabin and what cabins are which. And there's a ton of cabins there. There's tons of buildings everywhere. So you have to figure all that part out. And then you're setting these tents up. We have to get there, set these huge tents up, which we're not tent people. We don't have no clue how they go up. Every year it's like, is this piece? I don't know how this does it. And we kind of just figure it out. For some reason, it always seems like it rains the day we're setting the tents up.
Of course.
So everybody's all like, yeah. And then Paul's the electrician, so he has to go through and wire this whole entire building up. And he built these like makeshift panel boxes, and we have to rent these massive generators. I mean, they're huge. They can run like a city block. We rented 3 of them last year.
Huh. God.
To run all the kilns. Well, we had 25, 30 kilns set up. So there's kilns everywhere.
Yeah,
we have some big kilns.
I wanted to ask you about that. Do you guys supply the kilns, or do you recommend people bring their kilns?
We actually no. Well, if people want to bring a kiln, a lot of times we usually we were advertising that, but we still kind of let it up in the air. If somebody brings a kiln, we'll give them like $100 discount at the gate if they show up with a functional kiln.
Nice.
Some people will show up with like these little chili pepper things.
Right.
Don't even work. I'm like, dude, no, this has. Oh, I can use it myself. And like the kilns are all community kilns. So, and we try to get the larger ones. I mean, last year we have a couple of those big F500 Paragons, and then we have a bunch of the 240s and like all the different sizes. Paragon actually donates something. I think last year we got like 15 kilns from them.
Wow.
They don't donate them. They actually sell them to us, but they give them to us, and then we try to sell them through Melt, which every year we end up selling every one of them.
Yeah.
So if anybody that comes to Melt, and if anybody's listening, and they want a really good deal on a kiln at the end of the week at Melt, we usually sell them for almost, pretty much half price. I mean, you're getting for like retail, you're getting a wholesale price on them.
Yeah, plus you're saving on the shipping on that thing too.
Yeah, you don't have to ship them. I mean, those F500s brand new are like freaking $4,000 shipped.
Yeah.
You're going to get it for a little bit more than half of that. So yeah, we always have a bunch of kilns left over, and we usually end up selling them all. That's why I said I always end up with like 1 or 2. So I always got a nice kiln in my shop at least.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, we have Carlisle Machine Works. They're like our number 1 A sponsor. They send up a group of like 3 guys to work all week. Jesse, he's like one of their machinists, but they set up the whole entire manifold system for us. And they operate it. Like they're there when you show up with your torch and you pick your spot, they hook your torch up for you, make sure all the pressures are good. I mean, everything's taken care of for you when you get there. So you actually don't have to do any of the hooking up yourself.
Do they need to bring quick connects, or do they hook that shit up for you?
They can direct wire it.
Okay.
Yeah, they build like a manifold, and they just have it like the whole way down the line. And the way they do it is they start the manifold at the line with a hose, and then it comes into their manifold, and then the very last channel on the manifold goes back to the tank, so it pressurizes the whole system.
Yeah.
So
smart.
I mean, if you get some of them big guys, you get a whole bunch of Delta mags running. Every now and then you might lose a little pressure, but all in all, for the scale of what it is, it actually works really well.
Hell yeah.
We're hoping to put ventilation in the tents this year, so that's one of our big expenditures this year. Since we don't got to buy the tent, we're actually buying these ventilation systems that go inside the tents up in the roof. So that was one of the things some people get weird about it, which we try to explain to them. All it is propane and oxygen. These tents are massive. Even with 150 of them, all the sides of the tents are open, so there's airflow everywhere. But people are like, "Oh, there's too many fumes." So we're gonna go out of our way. That was one of our only big criticisms we always got from a few people, was they thought the tents got a little smoggy,
a little gassy.
But this year we should hopefully solve that. We're buying these big, like 5 big, they're like industrial blowers that go up in the roofs, and we're going to put them in the peaks of each tent, and we're going to have like 4 or 5 of them in each tent.
Nice. Yeah, so, I was going to ask you about that earlier, about the ventilation aspect. But then I thought, you guys are outside, so it's not a big deal. But I can see, some people being concerned. I'm asked that all the time over at the Mouse House, because we don't have ventilation in our studios. And I'm in a huge fucking room with air conditioning and airflow always going, so we're not concerned. Plus, we don't fume at all.
Yeah.
So it's it's whatever. But like you're saying, when you have 150 fucking torches going at one time, it can definitely get a little gassy buildup going.
Well, that's well. Hopefully, that was like we try like anything we have any kind of criticisms on, and if anybody hears and anybody ever has criticism, we definitely want it. We want to hear what people have to say because we want to fix it.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
want to make sure that everybody wants for nothing. You don't want anybody to have any problems.
Man, I don't see why anybody wouldn't go to this, including myself.
Well, like I said, I mean every year. I mean the torch tickets. I think we have. We out of the 150 torch tickets we set up for the torches, we sell about 110 tickets. So I think we have about 50 torch tickets left right now, and so they always sell out. The spectators never sell out, so we don't. If somebody's hearing and they don't want to freak out and like they don't have the money or whatever, like you can still like the spectators. Like I said, we really have an unlimited amount of spectators. If it would ever get to that point, we never really do. So,
Right.
the torch tickets will definitely sell out though. But we always have to keep 40 of those on hand because we have our interns and our volunteers. So we got to keep like maybe 15 torches set up for them to kind of share. And then we have 20. I think there was like 25 people on our artist demo list. So they all get a torch spot. So they're not tickets that are sold.
Heck yeah. Well,
So-
it's smart though that you guys have a cap like that though, just to kind of keep things under control.
Oh, and I mean, originally we always said like, let's try to go bigger, let's try to go bigger. And I was like, let's keep it here for a little bit, and maybe let's go another year, and then maybe we can add 50 more torches,
Right.
to see how this year goes. Because I mean, it just gets to be overwhelming with that many torches. I mean, it's wild to see, and just the whole manifold system and to build all that. I mean, no other event even comes close to being. Even like AGI was like the next biggest one I could think, and that was like 50 torches.
Mm-hmm.
That might be like their max that I've ever seen there, and when you put 3 times that much, it's like crazy. I mean, some of the other ones, like even Champs Champs has like 25 spots set up, or Mission Glass Projects only like 25, 30 spots.
Yeah, dude, you guys are setting a standard, and which is I think it's
tried
cool.
to get I tried to get a what do they call it? A Guinness Book World Record to come. I sent them an email. It took like 8 months for them to respond to me, and they just like, that doesn't seem like something that would interest us. So thanks for your interest or something like that. I'm like, wow, that sucks.
What
8
a
months
bunch
for
of dicks.
I know, and the funny thing is, I wrote a big thing about it. I was like, yeah, we're doing this thing, and I think it's a one of a kind, and it was just kind of funny that they did that. But they also have on the page where if you want to pay them like $10,000, they'll show up tomorrow.
Of course.
So basically, they want to try to get money for it. They want you to pay for the right to be in the book.
But I'm sure if you guys made like the world's largest donut ever made, they'd be there in a heartbeat.
Exactly. So yeah, that was a bummer. I was kind of hoping. I was telling people like, I might get Guinness to come, and I was all proud of myself. Yeah, that didn't work out.
Yeah, well, it's the thought
But,
that counts. It's cool.
I'm trying to think anything else we got going on. I'm hoping I actually have a couple good bands booked this year for the last day. So usually the last day, well, I said like Thursday, Friday, I try to do this 2-day passes, get the shops to come in, and we have that big yard sale day, and then Thursday's kind of like your wind down day, because then Friday you wake up, we try to like get everybody to pack up all their stuff by like 5 o'clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are staying, if you're an intern volunteer, some of the torches get left up, but we try to get some of that stuff cleaned up. And then, around 5 o'clock, we try to like get everybody just getting everything cleaned up, getting their cabin straightened up, getting ready to leave for the next day. And then we just have this massive all around throwout. We have beer, you have the big pig roast, you have the fireworks. It's just this big party.
And it runs Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
and then the move out day is Saturday, so people can stay Friday night, and then they leave Saturday morning sometime.
Nice.
We're not strict. We don't kick anybody out like real quick. Some people have planes and all that kind of weird stuff. So they have shuttles go on. We have a shuttle picks people up and takes them to the airport. There's people driving and drop people off, and then it's like I said, we're usually there for a couple extra days anyhow. So a lot of the interns and volunteers, we kind of try to move all the torches that anybody wants to stay out to the cafeteria, kitchen area, and we kind of just blow glass and clean up as we go and eat up all the food and all that kind of stuff.
Hell yeah. Yeah, man.
There's
Like I said, it just doesn't seem obviously the price is there, but if this is coming every year, you can save up for it every month.
Well,
put
we
away,
didn't raise the price. Like we actually kept the price the same from last year to this year. The first year we had $1,000 ticket and we raised it to $1,100. And this year we kept the price the same. We did raise the spectator ticket $50, and I mean there again I tell people, I mean where else can you get that kind of if you go take a class, pick any one person on our demo lineup, like say Nico Cray, if you want to go take a class with him. I mean, I'm not sure what his classes are going for, but it's probably $800 to $1,000 for like a 2 or 3 day class.
All right.
And they sometimes they give you lunch, but you're still gonna have to pay for your hotel room. You're still gonna have to pay for if you're traveling, or most of your food. So you take one person there, you're gonna have a lineup of, that's the thing with our list. Our artist lineup is like 25 people, but I mean there's probably another 45, 50 people that could be on that list real easy. They're just coming as a ticket, buying a ticket. So there's a lot of really talented glassblowers there. And that's the cool thing is all people want to do is do collabs. So it's just like collab central. I mean, every day, just walk in there. And when you come in, I like to go in at nighttime. I'll go in like right around like starts getting night around like 9 o'clock at night, right after dinner. And that place, the tents are just popping. I mean, every single person's in there. I mean, they're just people raging on the torch. People are just watching. There's demos. All the big guys are making crazy big pieces. And yeah, it's a good time. We usually have some DJs spinning music and
man.
And then we start cooking late night food. I'm actually buying a hot dog cart this year. I've been trying to find a really badass hot dog cart that I could have one of my interns push it around and just give away hot dogs. I was like, I want to get him a little suit, make him go like, hot dogs, get your red hots. So that's kind of my goal right now. I've been like on eBay and Craigslist, like looking for a badass hot dog cart.
That's awesome.
I'm hoping to get an ice cream truck in there this year. Just cool things that makes people think of like summer camp. We were talking to we're trying to get like we're hoping to have like a Boro Olympics this year. So I don't know, like I still don't really understand what it is. I've heard people say about stuff. We were trying to come up with games. So I actually put our one intern, Patty, from Salem Community College. She's an awesome intern, but she'd spearhead it. So she's going to research some games and people can sign up to it, kind of like summer camp games.
Yeah.
And feel like like 2-man point pulling, stupid shit like that. Like longest stringer, just whatever we could come up with. We're gonna try to come up with some kind of a little Olympic system, and we'll have some kind of award system for that. We got a tattoo artist there on site, my good buddy Jason. He sets up and does tattoos all week long. I mean, I think last year he did like 50 tattoos. I mean, he was busy every day.
Yeah, I saw a lot of folks got the melt tattoo.
That's
pretty
awesome.
badass.
I thought that was awesome in itself. The first year, I think he did like 21 melt tattoos, and then last year he did how many? But he does like a whole board up, and you can pick. Like he'll make like a board. He'll make them all melt-oriented tattoos. He'll have like 20 different tattoos you can pick from, and they'll be like just like the first year. The big one was Micro did like a little creature, and he made a millie out of it and said melt, and he did a tattoo of that, and everybody got that like little Ewok-looking tattoo guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. Yeah, and I think that the community really does appreciate you guys and all the hard work you're putting into this. Just from the response that I've seen out there in the community of people talking about this.
That's what we hope for. Like I said, that's all we ever really wanted. I mean, we never really got into it thinking, hey, we're gonna be millionaires off this or get rich off of it. We just wanted to have an event ourselves because we wanted to put on an event that we wanted to do, and that's really what it comes down to. We wanted every aspect to be what I wanted and what we think everybody else wants too.
Man, it's smart, dude. That's how business works. Make a product that you want to fucking wear or buy or use yourself, and next thing you know, you got a million people wanting to buy the same thing.
Well, that's what we hope. Hopefully it grows, and hopefully down the line, we've been having talks maybe doing a West Coast one. So, we're still up in the air. We're trying to plan. We're trying to get all of our ducks in order and really trying to get a grasp of it. That's why hopefully this year will be our third year, and I think we kind of worked out most of the kinks, and we kind of know what direction we need to go with everything. We learned a lot the last 2 years.
Well, that's what I was saying. You guys are, in a sense, are setting a standard for how this is run, in a sense of all the logistics. People are being catered to, like, individually. I mean, where can you go to say you're a vegan?
That's the most important thing, I think. And I think that's what people appreciate the most is, like, nobody's above the next. No matter if you're, like, the best glass blower or the worst glass blower, we're going to treat you all the same because you all paid, the same to be there. And, we want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to be happy, leave happy, be fat, be full,
They're gonna leave spoiled.
Yeah, that's the response we like to hear, though. I love when I run into people and I'll be like, man, I mean, like, that was the best I ate all year. I'll be like, I feel like I was on a cruise ship. It's like anytime I walk into the kitchen, you guys got something going on. Because even if they miss like lunch or dinner, somebody wouldn't get off the torch and they just show up late, we'll go out of our way to accommodate them. It's like if we're in the kitchen making dinner, we'll be like, oh, we'll drop what we're doing and like make sure we'll give you some kind of leftover or make you a sandwich or make sure you don't go hungry.
Yeah.
So
Man, that's so cool.
I think that's important.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it also takes a lot of the stress off, all those aspects when you don't have to think about, going back and checking to see if your tent washed away or if your shit's all wet. If you don't got to think about all those things all the time, you can focus on just having fun and blowing glass and whatever else you want to do there.
Yeah, which is what it's all about, man. Nothing worse than being stressed out when you're on the torch.
No doubt.
Doesn't work.
So yeah, but I mean, we definitely welcome any criticism. Anybody out there that's come, we definitely like to hear from you, and
heck yeah,
let us know if there's anything we can change or make better.
Hell yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. Which is even better that you guys are open to that kind of shit. You're not just being like, "Fuck you guys, we're gonna do it our way."
Nope, not at all.
Yeah, it's killer. Well, hell yeah, man. Well, I'll have all the links and information and everything in the show notes for everybody to check out, and your contact information as well. So if anyone wants to reach out and ask questions or even ideas for the Olympics, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna make a post about that here on Facebook here on Torch Talk and stuff, just try to get some people's ideas. Because I mean, I could only think of like one or two. Like I was like, I always thought a 2-man point pool would be hard. Who could do the best ones, but I don't know what else there could be. There could be literally hundreds of. I'm sure there'll be a lot. We're trying to talk to the Boyer Olympics Derby guys. They were talking about coming. I don't know if we locked anything like that down yet, but they're in the works of maybe setting that up and actually having the Pinewood Derby guys there. Yeah,
that's such a cool thing too.
Yeah, that was cool, and we were set up right beside that at Las Vegas this year, so we got to see a lot of it. So it's just cool to see some of the cars these guys built. You had Stellar on. He's the one that kind of referred me to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, his car was the best. That thing was the shit. I think it was so cool to see. His Wile E. Coyote.
Yeah, exactly. It's such a cool concept. Just the fun side of it. Not to mention it's a functional pipe.
Yeah, and like I said, I like to see some more. We like to have some cool games like that. So the more little things we can make like that at Melt, to me, if anybody has any cool ideas, I'd love to hear them. We like to think about those things that you used to do in summer camp. It's like what all went down. It's like what kind of things happened. So
yeah, well, one you guys should not do, which I heard a horror story about in a hot shop. These guys that worked, I don't know if they were in Washington or somewhere, but they would get a gather out of the furnace and run out the studio and try to basically see how far they could toss their gather, like on a fishing string kind of thing.
Slap around.
Well, that's what happened. One of them, it got cold quickly and it came around and wrapped around the guy's neck.
Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine that shit. So
I don't know if Kalen. I said I'll tell Kalen not to do that. He sets that up right beside me. We actually set the hot shop up right beside the kitchen, so it's kind of a badass little setup he has. And I mean, people loved it because a lot of these kids have never blown soft glass.
Yeah.
And and that's one of his big things is he really encourages, like when he even goes to local street fairs and stuff, he encourages the kids to come up and help do it. He'll have them up there blowing and shaping stuff, and he kind of walks them through it. So he's a really good teacher in that aspect. And I can't imagine how many of the kids there actually got on and blew soft glass and that never did it before.
So cool.
Plus we had Ethan Windy there, and he loved it. He jumped on and did some cool ass demo on the soft glass truck, which was awesome.
Yeah, dude, he's a fucking beast.
He's coming back this year. He's on our list, and he's gonna be definitely doing that again. I mean, it's just cool to have the soft glass truck there and have it set up where it's just a whole nother aspect. That was a huge hit last year, and like I said, we're gonna basically make it a full-time part. I told Kalen. Kalen's been wanting to sell the truck for a long time. He's just been he lives on a sailboat, so he doesn't really have a place to keep it, and he doesn't really just do it as much. So really the only time it gets used every year is pretty much for Melt now. It's going to be used, so we're going to try to make a deal with him where Melt's going to buy the truck from him. But I told him that we'll do it over a period of 5 years, and then he has to come back every year. So he don't get the money until it's all the end of the 5th year.
Smart.
So he's cool with it though, because he really liked it, and it was cool because he's not a flame worker by no means, and he kind of opened his eyes to the whole flame working scene, and he left and just re-sparked his whole interest in glass blowing again.
Hell yeah! It sounds like too, man. He's a great example of my philosophy with our industry of living the life you want to fucking live and designing your lifestyle as being a glass blower.
Yeah, Kalen, that's all he does in the summertime. He goes and builds all these stages at festivals, and then he has a sailboat that he lives on with his kids, which is crazy.
That's awesome.
And he lives on that thing all winter long, and we're talking up in Maryland. It gets cold. He has a little wood stove on it, and yeah, it's pretty wild. He lives that gypsy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's
kind of like my buddy Josh Mizet, my partner. Like I said, that's how he is. He travels. He's always he's out in Oregon right now. He's getting ready to go to the DFO, and then he'll be coming back. I actually was hoping he was going to be back. He was supposed to be back. He was supposed to come back and then fly out to the DFO, but I was hoping he'd be here and we could do this radio channel thing together.
Yeah.
But he'll be back after the DFO, and then he usually stays here. He actually lives across the street. My other partner bought a house across the street from me, and
Nice.
he's like his roommate. So we all kind of have our little compound here at the house.
Too cool, dude. Well, I think this would be a great place for us to take a quick break, thank our
Okay.
sponsors and stuff, and then we'll come back and it'll be time for us to crash the kiln.
All right.
Segment of the Wise Guy Radio Show is brought to you by the Flow magazine. Since its inception, the focus of the Flow has been to provide a bond among members of the lampworking community. This has been accomplished by developing relationships with the finest artists and sharing their techniques with you through in-depth step-by-step tutorials. In every issue, you can enjoy great content with the hottest artists and cutting-edge techniques using the latest industry products. These features, along with the continuation of our Women in Glass edition, Glasscraft Emergent Artist Awards, inspiring gallery showcases, dynamic general interest articles, as well as health and safety information, make The Flow the leading international lampworking journal. And if you have not yet subscribed to The Flow, you can use the coupon code WISEGUY at checkout, and you can receive 10% off your annual subscription. So just go to theflowmagazine.com. That is theflowmagazine.com. All right, cool. We are back. So the Crash and the Kiln round consists of 7 questions. You can give me a 30 to 60-second answer on each one of them and then expound upon them as well if you'd like to, as we always tend to do. And the first question I always like to ask is if there is any living glass artist that you haven't worked with yet and you want to, why is the reason?
I mean, I have to go back to Cesare. He's pretty much my main guy I like. Like, he was my favorite glassblower.
Heck yeah. Yeah, when you mentioned him earlier, man, dude's amazing.
My buddy worked with him, and I pretty much, everything I learned from my flame working. I've got to see him work in person quite a few times, like at Salem and up in Corning for gas. And, he's the one that actually I learned how to make glass chains watching him back in 2000.
Huh. Hell yeah. What are your top 5 favorite colors in glass?
Favorite colors, man. I use a lot of clear.
Yeah, that's a color.
I love black. I love white. They're my 2 favorites.
What kind of black and white do you use?
I use a bunch of different things. I usually use like the what's that? Eclipse black a lot. And then I just got that new Taffy Tubes black. It's like a transparent black tubing. He gave us some from Melt, and I mean, I just finally used it, and I'm telling you, this is the most amazing black color I've ever seen. So I recommend that to anybody. Get Taffy Tube black. It is beautiful.
Nice.
And then white, I like the old school China white personally.
Yeah, you and me both.
I have a whole bunch of it, like the real old stuff, and I'm actually about getting low. I'm like sad because I'm running out of my old school stock.
Yeah, there was a while you couldn't buy that stuff, and that was because the company I work for, we all bought it for me to make Olaf with.
Yeah, we bought. I had a huge case of 5-foot long pieces. And we're finally. I think I got 3 big rods left, so I'm getting scared.
What size do you use for it?
What size?
Yeah.
It's like 7, 8 mil, something like that.
Okay. Yeah,
case.
yeah.
But yeah, it's just the most beautiful white. It's so vibrant. I love it in my marbles.
It's a weird COE in it.
Yeah, you gotta encase it. I mean, I have a hard time not using it in case because it gets kind of funky. Some people can. I don't really do a lot of blown stuff with it, but I use it for a lot just in my like I said, my solid work.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And then black, clear, black, white. I mean, I like old school rust. I miss that color. I don't use it enough. And other than that, there's some cool new colors that I'm really into. I like fade to black. I really like that color.
Hell yeah. Cool. What is your worst injury in the studio?
Man, I'd have to say the first week I was blowing glass. It was kind of funny. I was out there. They were teaching me how to make mushroom marbles, and I literally the point I do a 2-push mushroom marble. So I'll push the first piece in, make a cap, melt it all down, then push the next one in and make the stem. And the stringer broke and it snapped and it went straight through my hand and came out the other side. It went through my knuckle, right in, but my palm of my hand in my knuckle and came out the other side. And I just looked up and my friend was like, "Holy shit!" I'm like, "Oh my god!" And the crazy thing is, it was really hot, so it cauterized it instantly when I pulled it out, and so it didn't bleed at all. It was kind of weird, but I couldn't close my hand for a week.
Fuck.
So the funny thing about that is, my partner Todd Dunlap, right after that, right when he first started blowing glass, and like his first couple weeks of blowing glass, he always knew that story. And I shit you not, same exact thing happened. He stuck this thing, it went straight in his hand. He pulled it out though, and blood went everywhere. It was all over the floor around his booth. But same injury. It was hilarious.
Seems that we start off with the first week I was blowing glass. Oh man, fuck. So when you're in the shop, do you watch TV, listen to the radio, or do you do both?
We used to do nothing but music, but recently we bought like a smart TV, and now we're like, I got Amazon Prime, Hulu, and Netflix, and we're literally just begging for things to watch. You know, it's like we're watching everything. We just got done rewatching The Sopranos. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking for something good.
Hell yeah. Yeah,
but I like music sometimes. Sometimes we'll put it on like YouTube and watch music. We've been obsessed watching this crazy Russian hacker. You seen this guy?
No.
Check him out, dude. It's freaking hilarious. It's like this Russian guy that just tests products, and he's just hilarious. And he has like 12 million followers, and he has hundreds and hundreds of videos. So we've been obsessed with watching all his like. He eats all these MRIs and MREs or whatever, and just all kinds of funny shit.
Huh.
He's worth watching.
Yeah, let's check it out. I like weird shit like that.
He's called Crazy Russian Hacker.
Okay. I'm sure I've seen it come up in like the suggested videos or some shit that YouTube puts out.
It's nuts how many followers he has just from doing dumb shit.
Dude, it's amazing how many people have followers on there for all kind of dumb shit.
I mean, he takes like TV products like ice cream scoopers and like waffle makers, and he'll buy like 10 of them, like all different products, and then test them. And it's funny as hell. And he's just like, boom! Oh, it's amazing! Oh, boom! he cracks me up. But I like when he does all the foods. He eats all the MREs and he tries them all out. And some of this shit's disgusting. He gets them all the different countries, and he eats everything. He's like, oh, it tastes amazing! Oh, boom! And yeah, that's his trademark. Boom.
Interesting. At least it's not Bam.
No.
He might have been sued.
But I love me some Emerald. That's actually where I learned how to cook.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you and me both, dude. Learned lots of things from him.
I used to literally record it on my like DVR or whatever, and I'd come home and I'd watch it every night, and I'd just go in my kitchen, and that's where I really started getting like a really big passion. And I was stocking my cupboards up with all these different things, and watch his show, and yeah, that's how I really got into it.
Huh, interesting. Well, I'm glad I brought it up. Now we know. Let's see, we got... Oh yeah, do you have any glass-blowing themed tattoos?
That's hilarious. No, my buddy, like I said, the tattoo guy from Melt. I was supposed to get one the last 2 years, and I still haven't. He's like, I just stopped in there yesterday, and he's like, dude, you still haven't got your Melt tattoo yet. I'm like, dude, I'm a dick. I was like, everyone else got one except for me. I was just like, so I honestly, I need to go in. I've been planning on getting I was gonna get my CC Plus tattooed on my forearm.
Hell yeah.
And then I wanted to get my Jackson Diamond shears put on my inner forearm.
Nice.
I haven't got around. I mean, I got a bunch of tattoos, but I've been slacking. I just told him yesterday, because I haven't got a tattoo in like 3 or 4 years, so I'm due time.
Yeah, no
they
shit.
They hurt so damn much, man. They hurt.
Yeah.
My last one took like 8 hours. It was seriously the worst. It hurt so bad. I couldn't walk for like a week afterwards. So, yeah. I told him from now on, I just want little tattoos. Like, I can handle 15, 20 minutes, man. I can handle that shit all day long. Man, once you get over that 2 hours, you just start sweating. You feel like, God.
The worst though is when it's a long one like that, and you get to 2 hours, and you're good, and then they're like, okay, I need a cigarette break. I'm like, no.
Yes,
it's
the
worst.
We went through 3 of those.
Fuck.
And then the fucked up thing is, he's like, let's try this new lidocaine stuff. He sprayed this stuff on my leg after he got the outline done, and he said, let that kick in for like a half an hour. Then he started tattooing me, and I swear it was freaking me out even more because I couldn't feel it so much on my leg, but it was like rattling my heart. And I was like holding my jaw shut. My jaw was rattling. And I was freaking out. I was like, this is even worse. I was like, I want the shit to wear off. Yeah, I'm done. Like I said, them big tattoos can suck it.
Yeah, you and me both, dude. And, oh, yeah.
The good thing is, like I said, my buddy always hooks me up. He never charges me for tattoos. So I always get like awesome tattoos cheap or for free pretty much.
Yeah, that's nice. Having that kind of connection. I was going to ask you about your torch. Was that like kind of just to back up real quick in your origins? What was one of the first torches you got into?
I run a CC Plus, a Carlisle CC Plus.
Yeah.
Which a really good funny story about that is, I mean, we're talking 20 years ago. I started off on a national, and I worked on that national for like a solid year. And I actually had a major minor too, but I didn't like it, and I could do more on the national than I could on that major minor. And I didn't have a kiln. I mean, I had a big ass ceramic kiln back then that I didn't even have a place to plug it in. I'd actually have to pull my stove out of my house and plug it into where my stove went in. Because I was a young punk kid, I wasn't thinking about just putting a new plug in.
Right.
And so I'd make all my glass through the week, and I'd just put it in a crock pot full of vermiculite.
Yep.
And kiln everything that. Let it all cool down. And then once a week, I'd pull my stove out, load that freaking huge ceramic kiln up, and fire everything at once. So I did that for like a good 2 or 3 years before I got a real kiln.
Hell yeah. I think Stellar was actually the one that was on the show had mentioned that's what he started off with too. And he would leave it on for, I mean, I think he left it on for like 6 years or some shit. Like, it never turned it off.
Oh, for vermiculite? Oh, yeah, I just let it hot. It would just be on high, and it would just be always hot. I'd make some pretty crazy shit out of that. I mean, there again, back then, I didn't have any money when I first bought all my equipment. I remember buying, when I first got back from California, I didn't know all the sizes of everything. So I ordered a case of tubing. I ordered 15 millimeter standard wall tubing. And in my head, I was thinking this was like 30 mil tubing. I had no fucking clue. It was like 70 pieces of glass, tubes. And I was like, shit. So what I pulled points with it, no shit. And then I took clear 3 mil glass rod. I didn't have 3 mil, I had 2 mil glass rod. And I would build up the clear on top of each piece of point first. So I'd put like 2 or 3 big long sticks of clear on it, and then melt that in, and then put my color on top of that and wrap and rake it. So I built my own tubing.
Man,
I did that. I did it until the whole case was gone.
You really learned how to use that medium, though. I bet.
It was. That's what I'm saying. I can work with really thin stuff now because of that.
That's funny. But for my longest time, dude, I didn't know there was anything bigger than 1 inch. So I'm like,
it's crazy.
For years.
I was ordering tools. I ordered graphite tools, and for some reason, I ordered a 1 inch graphite bowl push. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this thing came. I still have it. I've never used it. It's like humongous. It's this huge ass thing. I was like, dude, the bowl was like massive. So yeah, I was an idiot. I spent a bunch of money on dumb shit that I didn't need and thought I needed it. But back to my torch.
Yeah.
About a year goes by, and I was like, well, I'm gonna buy a torch. So I basically talked to my wife, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna get this torch, and she's like, all right, I believe you. And so I ordered it. Back then a Carlisle was like $1,000 for just a regular CC. And so that's what I ordered. I ordered a Carlisle CC, and my buddy had a Carlisle, and he didn't work with me, but he had it at his house. So it comes in the mail. I open it up, and I was like, what in the fuck is this thing? I mean, this torch was huge. It was just massive. It's a big torch. And I called him up, and he came over, and he's like, what the hell was that? And this is before there was even like kind of like catalogs with pictures of these torches in them. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And there was a CC in the old Whale magazine. The catalog back in the day had pictures of CC pluses in them, but they were all square. So when this thing came, this looks like the new CC, where it has the tapered, thing. It's like number 200 out of the whole, on the plate.
Awesome.
So yeah. So it was when they first started making this design of Carlisle CC pluses. So we didn't know what the hell it was, and it was just twice as big, not 3 times bigger than his Carlisle. And I was like, I'm not gonna say nothing. So I never called him or said nothing. I just didn't understand what it was at the time. And about 5-6 years goes by, and I went to the Salem Community College. They do that International Flameworking Conference.
Yeah.
And the guys from Carlisle were set up, and the owner was there. And I started talking to him, and I told him the story. I was like, man, and I knew at that time I knew what I had. Mm-hmm. I told him the story. I was like, man, I got a Carlisle. I ordered a Carlisle, and I was like, you guys sent me the CC Plus, but I was like, I didn't really know at the time, so I didn't even think about it. He's like, man, good for you, man. He's like, that's awesome. He was like, that's such a good story. But yeah, basically, I got my CC Plus for free. Well, for the price of a Carlisle.
Right.
What I was getting at.
Yeah, they're a fucking beast, dude. I had a buddy of mine that had a mag, and he's like, I'm getting rid of this mag. I'm gonna buy a Carlisle, and he bought a Carlisle CC Plus. I'm like, what the fuck is the difference between that big ass mag you had and that big ass CC Plus? Because those things are
the flames. The flames are so soft and forgiving on a Carlisle.
Yeah,
and I love it because I do make a lot of goblets and stuff. And I think it's the best goblet torch. I mean, it's just so nice. That and the Herbie. I have a Herbert Arnold too, which I hardly ever use because I have a hard time fuming on it. But I've been using my Carlisle for so long, and then when I try to switch over to the Herbie, I'll hook it up and have it right beside my torch, and I'll use it for certain things because it is a really cool torch to play with and use. Mm-hmm. I love it for making marbles. I mean, that little laser point flame, you can drill a hole into the glass.
Yeah.
But I can't fume on it, so I'll just jump back over to my Carlisle, fume, and then jump back over to it.
I've seen guys using like the Smith hand torch for fuming with their on a Bethlehem or something like that doesn't really fume that well, because even like GTTs don't really fume that well, See,
my Carlisle, I can fume like a champ.
Dude, you and me both, bro. I've been using mine for fucking almost 20 years now, and I'm looking at it right now. I love it, and I'm working on a GTT now at work, And it's taken me probably 4 months to get used to that heat.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't like GTs. I don't like the heat of them. Like I said, I'd have to work one. That's my problem with the car. Or my Herbie is I've never spent a very large, amount of time with it.
Mm-hmm.
You got to spend a lot of time on a torch. I'm so used to this Carlisle, it's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
and they can
here.
take a beating. I mean, I've had this thing for 20 years and I've never had any issues with it. I even now, I'm just in the process. I'm thinking at Melt this year, I'm going to take it and give it to them and let them take it and rebuild it, because it's never been done.
Yeah,
but it doesn't even. It's not even bad. Like the face of it has a little bit of deterioration on it, but man, it still looks pretty damn good for 20 years old.
Do you have any clogged ports?
I just was cleaning it the other day and I broke off a wire.
I did the same thing.
So I've never ever had a problem with my ports ever up until literally 3 weeks ago on my own accord.
Oh, dude, I was so pissed. I go to turn my flame on. I could just see that metal just beat up and clog the hole up. Oh,
so I'm going to take it to them and let them clean it and just put all new things on it. And I got my foot pedal for Griffin for it. And I just got Blast Shield to make me a really badass custom L Marver with all these attachments for it on top of it.
Hell yeah.
So,
yeah, they're a beast. I love them.
That's all it's in our shop. We have 3 Carlisles, and we don't usually Herbie so, but everybody in my shop works on Carlisles.
Hell yeah. Yeah, I got mine tattooed on my arm probably 8 year ago now, something like that.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to do. I was going to get it right on my thing. He was just like, well, I'll do it for you anytime. There again, I'm a lazy. I never want to do it.
Yeah, man, you got to do something with it one of these days. Even if it's tiny.
Yeah, that's always my problem. I never go tiny. I always go big.
Yeah, same here. With everything in life.
That's say all my tattoos are freaking. I started off getting them and like everything's huge.
Heck yeah. So let's see. Back on track here with the questions. Favorite artists, colors, tattoos, injury, TV. Oh yeah. If you could describe the sound of glass cracking, whether like a metaphorical sound or like the actual literal sound of it, how would you describe it?
How do I describe it? I don't know. That's a hard question. How do you describe glass cracking? Now, is this a one-word description?
It can be one word, or you need to elaborate more.
Like, I mean, what do you say? Oh shit!
Yeah, because I get like the typical tinks and stuff. I had Steve Sizlove. His answer was something about, it was like a Buddhist thing where it just blew it off and went on to the next thing. I don't remember exactly what he said, but it was like so good. It was like just like this centered, fuck it.
It was like, oh yeah, I had it happen at Champs on my demo piece that I made for the competition. It cracked on me. Like I said, they gave us like 3 hours to make this piece, and it's not that much time to begin with. But then the kilns were only running at like, they were barely getting over 1,000 degrees.
Oh Jesus!
And I had these huge attachments, like big Darth Vader and Boba Fett heads, and they're like 2 inches thick, and I had the whole piece put together. I was literally getting ready to put the last horn on it, and the flame. I mean, when I was pulling it out of you had to pull it out of the kiln and keep working. There was no time to let the kiln come up because you have to you only had so much time. I was down to like 10 minutes, and my Vader and my Stormtrooper had cracked. That's what kind of dinged me on the whole competition.
Well, that sucks.
I actually finished the piece last night. I put it back in the kiln and put all new marbles on it, and it came out pretty sweet.
Nice.
But yeah, I was kind of bummed out about. But yeah, when you hear a crack like that, it kind of just takes your breath away.
Yeah.
Especially when you're working, if you have 2 or 3 days in the piece and you hear that crack and you're just like, oh my God. Sometimes they're not that bad. Luckily, if it's in like a marble, I don't care so much. It's something you can fix, take off and put something back on. But it sucks when you actually have a really big marble. I actually made a marble. I don't have too many issues with like stuff like that cracking, but like about a month ago, I was doing this really crazy white and black dot stacked marble. And that is literally probably the craziest one I've ever done. And I worked on it for probably 7 hours, putting this dot stack on this marble. I was all like psyched, put it in the kilned it for like 3 or 4 hours, and crashed it. Came out the next morning, and it was cracked all over. I had never had that issue before.
Huh.
Makes your heart drop, though. It's
Yeah.
like, damn, that was a waste of a day. I'm looking at it right now. It's like, what do you do with it? Find a fish tank to throw it in?
Exactly. Yeah, man. One of the things I'm learning right now too is my new character I'm working on is Figment from over at Epcot, the little dragon there, and it's about 8 inches overall, like size wise. Like his body is a 6-inch section of 1-inch solid rod of clear that I'm making just his torso with. So when it's all done, it's like probably 3 pounds. It feels like it's weighing, and most of my bigger stuff I've always worked has had colors, so you can hide flaws and shit, in terms of sculptural stuff. But in this guy, like I'm dealing because of using this GTT for the first time, I'm getting issues with DeVit and all kind of weird shit, but also understanding the timing on them. And it's about a 3.5 hour-ish piece right now. Ideally, 2 hours is what I'm gonna get him down to, but right now he's about 3.5 hours. And literally the other day, I had 2 of them take a shit on me, and it wasn't just like a surface spider webbing. It was like a crack completely through the entire piece. You know, where there's nothing you can fucking do. I mean, you can maybe
even if you fix it, it's gonna look like shit.
Yeah, exactly. So I just rip his head off and salvage what I can and throw it in the trash. But it gives the guest a chance to see, hey, you know, everything we make doesn't always come out in the end. That's why we charge what we charge for it.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that doesn't. I mean, there again, when I'm playing around and experimenting, I mean, you can definitely mess a lot of stuff up.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Hell yeah, man. Well, the last question I'd like to ask is, what are your 5 favorite tools to use, and that does not include your glasses, kiln, or torch?
Glasses, kiln. Well, number 1 is my tungsten tweezers. I love those little things.
They like the bent neck angle ones?
I don't like the bent neck ones. Mine are just straight.
Okay.
And then my jacks diamond shears, tweezers for trophies. Like all those tools are like my favorite tools. Like all my cup making tools. So pretty much there's 5 of them there.
Hell yeah. And do you use a blow hose too when you're doing your cups now?
Nope, no blow. The only time I ever really use blow hoses is when I'm doing wig wags.
Oh, interesting.
That's really the only time I ever do it. Everybody always ask me that too, because a lot of times I'll have 2 tubes or whatever, and I'm those guys, you know, always put it up to my mouth and blow it, and spin it.
Yep.
And I've always just done that ever since I've, you know, been blowing glass. I always did my cups that way, so I'm just so comfortable doing it.
Yeah, and I think too the blow hose makes. Let me back up. So I think not using a blow hose allows your mechanical side of your body mechanics to be able to move glass angularly to pivot and stuff without getting it to slide at all. You know, to lose your line.
Yeah, I like to look down on the glass, and if I'm spinning something like a cup, I can see it being spun so straight.
Mm-hmm.
I like if I'm holding it in my mouth, like the point of my mouth, and I'm spinning, I can look down, I can apply pressure, pushing it forward or pulling it apart perfectly, and I can always see it on axis. So it's almost like a lathe. You know, you're looking straight down a lathe.
Yep.
And with a blow tube, I don't know. I don't have that feeling.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, I do use my blow hose. I said just when I make wig wags, that definitely makes the best wig wags.
It makes sense though, because you're keeping the air, keeping the walls out, so you're not having colors overlap and stuff on you.
But other than that, I hardly ever. I mean, I'll put it on occasionally if I'm putting an attachment on that I know it's going to be big or something. I might put it on just to puff out. Mm-hmm. But most of the time, it's just I don't ever bridge anything ever either, like ever, no matter how big it is.
Dude, I've just recently started bridging on some stuff, and I don't like it.
Yeah, my friends, like, I'll see them bridge, and they'll have like this piece that's like 3 inches, and they'll have like 5 or 6 bridges on this thing. And like, you know, like this Star Wars piece I was talking about for champs, this thing weighs like 3 pounds. Like, it's heavy. And I have it on 1 blow tube, and I have like seriously like 3 pounds of attachments on these marbles. There's like 4 huge marbles on it, and yeah, I have no bridges. Like I said, if it breaks, it's gonna break. But
yep.
I never put bridges on anything.
I've found that I have more issues with using a bridge than when I don't use a bridge.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But there again, it's all about, I think, how you learn.
Yeah, exactly.
And a lot of these guys, when they first started blowing glass, if they're starting to blow in the last couple years, you watch people doing demos. Everybody uses blow hoses and bridges. Yep.
Yeah, it's the blow hose, the bridge, and the hand torch.
I never seen anybody do it until I went and saw like these young kids doing it.
Right. Yeah,
I'm not even that old, so.
Yeah. Yeah. My first times was I took a Joe P. And Peter Muller class, and Joe was then the 2 of them together were using the bridges on stuff, and it just made sense on certain aspects of it's like when he does his dragons when he was getting that tail and the 2-hole button perk they do in the butt, So those kind of things, it made sense. And
I see it. Like I see how people do it, like Sherlocks. I'm more of a 1-piece Sherlock guy where I do the stretch and I bend it all at one time. Yeah. And I see people that they'll bridge to like their bowl piece to the actual bowl piece to the mouthpiece, and then they'll let that heat and drip up and they'll shape it that way.
Yep.
And a lot of people do that. And yeah, I've never got it. I just always do it 1 piece. Like I'll just like to stretch it. I like to stretch it.
Yeah, me too. I love it, dude. I love pulling stringers and points.
Yeah, that's how I am.
It's just embedded. It's just the old OGs, I guess, of us out there that do that.
Well, like I said, once you get to that certain age limit, and like I said, most of these guys have never tried to pull those points like that probably. And it's like if you start doing that, like I said, it's so much more comfortable doing certain aspects. But I ain't holding it against a blow hose. Blow hoses have their place 100%.
Yeah.
Because there's things that I couldn't do without it sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. But man, I always preach though, pulling points will teach you so much technique in glass. There's so many little minute details in pulling a point that transfers and carries on through the rest of your glass career and everything.
Oh, once you can get, I told my partner, like, once you can get a nice straight point pulled, I was like, man, you can pretty much do anything.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard to get a nice straight one.
Yeah, I still can't do it sometimes. I'm looking at my bench right now. I got a couple of shitty ones.
I'm the same way. I'm getting ready to go on a wine glass kick, so I haven't made them in a couple weeks, and I'll sit down and start making cups and feet, and there again, half of them are gonna come out like crap, but they're the ones I'll use for my drunken goblets.
Yeah, so you'll have some. You'll be able to use them somewhere.
But we'll build it up here and get to work. And
hell yeah. Well, cool, man. It was a lot of fun chit-chatting with you. Before I let you go, though, if you want to give us some parting piece of advice, and then where we can find yourself personally, and then also Melt out there in the world of cyberspace.
So, what are you looking for? You want a piece of advice?
Yeah, any kind of, whether it's look both ways before you cross the street, or something that has to do with class, whatever.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. I don't really have any advice. My advice is come to Melt.
Hey, perfect.
There you go.
Hell yeah.
That'll be the best advice you can get, because you're going to learn so much there and just have such a good time. It's a vacation. It's just all around fun. And I think anybody that comes, you're not going to regret it.
Yeah. Sounds like it. And then all the links and the places we can find you guys at.
So my personal stuff, I'm on Instagram at Kevin Beecher Glass, and Facebook just Kevin Beecher. It's really pretty much any place I'm at. And Melt we have a website for East Coast Melt, and then we're on Instagram under Melt, and we're under Facebook under Melt. And you go to our website, you can pretty much get any information you want. There's ways to contact us. I mean, you can feel free to contact me personally on Instagram or Facebook. I can answer questions for you. And then any of the guys, any of my other partners, Todd, Sean, Paul, Todd, they'll answer any questions also.
Heck yeah. Yeah, and I'll have all those links and connections in the show notes for everybody to check out. And again, dude, it's been fun chit-chatting with you. I definitely want to cover your background and history, and we could have gone in so many fucking directions. I'm glad I stayed on track.
I can talk when I want to.
Yeah, you and me both, dude. Hell yeah. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this episode with Mr. Kevin here, and definitely check out the website. And if you have the ability to afford to go out to Melt, I definitely recommend the investment. It's life is all about investing in yourself, and this is one investment that you will not regret, especially the fact that it's a camp, it's glass, it's a place potentially you can sell some glass at and get some good food in your belly and watch some fireworks and catch a good buzz on while you're there. Sounds like my kind of place to live. God. So I appreciate you guys doing this for us. And again, all the links and everything will be out there on the show notes. And until next time, hope you guys enjoyed this chit-chat with Kevin and talking about Melt. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Wise Guy Radio Show. Y'all take it easy. See ya.